New World Dressrosa King's Heights. Doflamingo read the latest newspaper. The veins on his forehead were beating, and his eyes under his glasses were full of anger. How could this bastard Dai be so strong? Unexpectedly, even the old guy Golden Lion Shiki can't deal with this new 7 warlords of the sea. If this is the case, his assassination plan will be more difficult and may even require a change of strategy. If Dai knew other irrelevant secrets, he would definitely choose to cooperate with Dai instead of trying to kill Dai. Like when he collaborated with Gilder Tetsolo. Back then, that guy from Tetsolo had robbed him of the golden fruit. Later, when he found out that he couldn't do anything to Tetsolo, they decided to work together to develop and make money together. But now Dai knows the secret of the childlike fruit and the secret of the artificial devil fruit. These two secrets can overturn Doflamingo's power at any time. The entire Don Quixote family could be destroyed with just one word from Dai. With such a big handle in Dai's hands, other than killing him, the only option is to turn Dai into a closed community of interests. However, if Dai can be killed, the cost will undoubtedly be lower. Otherwise, they can only accept Dai's blackmail. After cooperation, they have to continue to give profits to Dai, or it is an unequal cooperation that gives up most of the benefits. As the intermediary emperor who has dominated the underground dark world for so many years, it is difficult for Doflamingo to swallow this breath. Unless Dai's strength is really strong enough to scare him, then it doesn't matter if he gives 90% of the benefits to Dai. If Dai was only as strong as him and kept trying to blackmail him, how could he feel comfortable? Now Monet has returned to the Grand Line as planned and is looking for an opportunity to join the Big Daddy pirates. Whether it's cooperation or assassination, let's decide based on the situation. The news that Dai forced out Golden Lion Shiki was much more exciting than defeating Sand Crocodile. At least the 4 emperors are paying attention. After all, Whitebeard, Big Mom, and all beasts are old acquaintances with Golden Lion, and they know the strength of Golden Lion Shiki. Back then, Golden Lion, like Whitebeard, was a senior officer of the Rocks Pirate. Golden Lion Shiki's status is higher than Charlotte Linlin. Later, the Rocks Pirate was defeated and disbanded, and Golden Lion and Whitebeard developed on their own, and soon they and Roger became the 3 legendary pirates. Golden Lion Shiki's flying fleet even forced Roger into a desperate situation. At that time, Charlotte Linlin was still giving birth to children and developing power, and Kaido of the Beasts was captured by the world government, experimented on, and imprisoned for several years. Aboard Moby Dick. Whitebeard Newgate was also a little emotional when he saw the news. Time really doesn't forgive anyone. I think back then, this guy Shiki was a peerless strongman who could beat him and Roger at a 50-50 ratio. I didn't expect that after having a rudder inserted into my head and having my legs broken, my strength would decline so seriously, and I would be bullied by a newcomer. However, when Whitebeard looked at every detail on his body and the busy nurses, he couldn't help but feel a little sympathetic. How could he be better than Golden Lion? He didn't know how many years he could live. As a man who has been going to sea since childhood, he didn't know how to take care of himself when he was young, leaving a lot of hidden wounds. Coupled with the counter-shock power of shock fruit, his body collapsed very quickly. Compared to Garp as a marine, his body is scarred and decayed. Moreover, Garp is a few years older than him, and he is still lively and energetic. This may be the difference between Marine's logistics and maintenance capabilities and his overstretched body as a pirate. The older generation will eventually be eliminated by the pirates of the new era. There is no more pirate ship to carry him in the new era. And at the edge of the pirate ship's deck, a fat black man was reading a newspaper with a simple smile on his face. Barrier fruit. Pretty good ability. I don't know where dark fruit is now. Has his whole life passed like this? Marshal D. Teach said reluctantly that he had been with the Whitebeard pirates for more than 20 years and had yet to hear the news about dark fruit. Even the red-haired kid who is younger than me has become the 4 emperors. This is really extremely uncomfortable. And the red-haired Shanks Conqueror's hockey was so terrifying that he even felt a little scared. The most important thing is the look in the red-haired Shanks' eyes that wants to kill him, which makes Teach even more hungry for power. Isn't it just giving the red-haired Shanks 3 claw marks? As for holding a grudge like this? According to rumors, aren't you, red-haired Shanks, famous for your easygoing personality? This is just a cheapskate. If he gets the dark fruit and his father's shock fruit power, then he can kill the bastard red-haired Shanks. Moreover, he also wants the lion fruit and the barrier fruit. Even if he doesn't use them, he can give them to his subordinates, but Teach is just fantasizing now. Toto Land Cake Island. Well, that kid Dai is pretty good. It's a pity that he became a minion of the world government. Otherwise I would have recruited him as my husband, or as my son-in-law. Aunt Charlotte Linlin laughed loudly, and she was even a little happy when she heard that Golden Lion Shaki was bullied by the newcomers. Back then, except for Captain Rox, only Whitebeard and Golden Lion had a higher status than her. But none of these powerful cadres were willing to become one of her husbands, and they even refused to lend her seeds. This really pissed off this beautiful woman. Otherwise, her descendants will definitely be more powerful now. Therefore, she still has a little resentment towards strong men like Whitebeard and Golden Lion. The children of the Charlotte family are also curious and shocked by this newcomer. Several girls are also very interested in Dai, the young newcomer king. Dai, who had been out at sea for less than a year, actually forced back the legendary pirate Golden Lion Shaki. It seemed that he was very powerful and did not look like a rookie pirate at all. Wanokuni Onigashima. Why don't you fight with me? Golden Lion Shaki, you old guy, you are not even qualified to lose to me now. I have been hiding like a mouse for so many years, and now I am slapped in the face by a newcomer as soon as I show up. It is a complete embarrassment to Rock's pirate. Kaido of the Beasts looked up to the sky and became furious, turned into a green dragon and flew into the sky, looking for a 4 Emperors level opponent to vent his anger. I remember that when he was a trainee crew member at Rock's pirate, he was also taught a lesson by officers such as Whitebeard and Golden Lion. Among them, the ones who were beaten the hardest were Golden Lion and Silver Axe. Of course, it was because he often challenged these cadres that he was beaten so badly. After he became the 4 Emperors, he thought about defeating these cadres one by one, but the remnants of Rox refused to retreat, so he could only often find trouble with Whitebeard. He even looked down on Charlotte Linlin, the 4 Emperors. In the eyes of Kaido of the Beasts, there are only 5 pirates he admires in his life, and 3 of them have died. They are Rox, Roger and Kazuki Oden. Among the people who are still alive now, only the old guy Whitebeard and the rising star red-haired Shanks can take his eyes seriously. Even Charlotte Linlin, who presented him with the blue dragon fruit, he actually looked down upon. She was just a useless woman who could only give birth to children. She wasted such a good talent. On a whim, Kaido of the Beasts once again sought out Whitebeard Newgate to loosen his bones. Immune to death, so willful, aboard the Redverse. When the red-haired Shanks saw the news, he softly lamented that the newcomers today are so amazing. When he was in his 20s, he didn't have such a great record. 7 warlords of the sea plus a legendary pirate. After all, Luffy should be almost old enough to go to sea. I wonder if he can find some strong partners, successfully enter the Grand Line, advance into the New World, and fulfill their agreement. I hope Luffy is in the Grand Line and doesn't provoke the new king of Big Daddy Babaya. While the red-haired Shanks and Ben Beckman were paying attention to these pirate news, Lucky Road was holding other posters. Shanks, UTA has another concert, when can we go see it? Lucky Lou shouted longingly that they had never seen UTA since they left UTA in the destroyed music island Elegia many years ago without telling her. Back then, UTA accidentally summoned a demon with music, destroyed Elegia and massacred most of the islanders. In order to save UTA from the crime of destroying the island, the Red Hair Pirates chose to bear the guilt of destroying Elegia themselves, publicly claiming that they were the ones who destroyed Elegia, and stole the treasure and left. At the same time, they also allowed UTA to break away from his identity as a pirate and become a real singer and musician. The Red Hair Pirates continued to sail with the reputation of destroying the island. For Uta's dream and peaceful life, they chose to stay away from UTA. Because they left UTA behind, UTA, who didn't know the truth, was full of resentment towards the Red Hair Pirates and all pirates. Forget it. Don't bother her. The red-haired Shanks' face also fell silent for a moment. He knew that UTA still had resentment towards them, and going there would only make both parties unhappy. Just stay safe this way. Alas, Ben Beckman also puffed out the smoke helplessly. Faced with this kind of thing, no matter how high his IQ is, he doesn't know how to solve it. Because Elegia was indeed destroyed by the demon accidentally summoned by UTA, this fact cannot be changed at all. If UTA gets this notoriety, her dream of being a singer will be completely over. Speaking of which, they have protected Uta's family very much. However, even if UTA knew the truth, he was still full of resentment towards them and all pirates. How else can he solve it? If it were now revealed to the world that UTA was the real culprit who destroyed Elegia, the music island, not only would Uta's career as a singer collapse, but she might not even be able to withstand the blow mentally. To be honest, even with Ben Beckman's IQ, it is difficult to figure out Uta's current brain circuit. Uta knows that she destroyed Elegia, but she is still resentful because of the abandonment of the Red Hair Pirates, which is difficult to understand. If the Red Hair Pirates had not been charged with the crime, Uta would not have become a world-famous singer. Instead, she would have stayed in the Red Hair Pirates and become a little pirate singer. What the Red Hair Pirates don't know is that Uta has become more and more disgusted with pirates after communicating with fans over the years. She wants to create a world without pain and suffering, so that people all over the world can live in peace and happiness in Uta's world. The forces in the new world were surprised by Dai Dai's strength, but in the Grand Line in the world, it was already boiling. Another great pirate rises. Especially the pirates who joined the pirate group were even more panicked. A part of the affiliated pirate group rushed to Shifeng Island. When they arrived at Shifeng Island, there was only a ruin. After seeing the news today, they immediately ran away. There were even some pirate groups who had not arrived at Shifeng Island. After seeing the news, they immediately turned around and fled, and immediately took down the flag of Golden Lion Shiki. Damn your thighs. He was defeated so quickly by a new 7 warlords of the sea, damn the legendary pirate. They must immediately withdraw from the Thief Leaders Association, stay away from the scammer Golden Lion Shiki, and stay away from the killers of the Big Daddy Pirates. They plan to hide for a year and a half, wait until the storm is over, and then come out again. The other 7 warlords of the sea finally began to take the newcomer Dai Di seriously. His combat power has exceeded many people's imagination. Whether it is Mahawk or Boa Hancock and other strong Shichibukai, they have begun to pay attention to this newcomer. If they meet him, the seriousness of the fight may be different. The Grand Line's White Earth Island, Valdigo, is the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army. Hey, I seem to have offended this Big Daddy Babaya. Bello Betty, the commander of the Eastern Army, held a lady's cigarette in his mouth and said to the leader of the Revolutionary Army Dorag and several military commanders a little embarrassedly, but his tone was not very remorseful. There is not much interaction between their Revolutionary Army and Dai Dai, the 7 warlords of the sea. It is almost impossible to meet him, and it doesn't matter if he offends him. According to Big Bear's news, Dai Dai owns Conqueror's Hockey. Dorag said expressionlessly that Dai Dai's strength was no worse than that of the 4 army commanders. Bello Betty now can't force the Big Daddy Pirates to evacuate like she did in East Blue Log Town. If she met Dai Dai now, she might be defeated by him. This new king was growing up too fast. Well, it seems that I have provoked a great guy. Bello Betty also sat upright and no longer acted like that. A 7 warlords of the sea with Conqueror's Hockey, his threat would not be weaker than the powerful ones such as 3 disasters or 4 generals. And according to Big Bear's news, the Big Daddy Pirates seem to have sold a very good special memory alloy to the world government in exchange for various rare resources. We need this memory alloy too. Dorag said calmly again. He heard that many scientists were praising this powerful memory alloy. And then, blame me, Bello Betty said helplessly. She did not expect that a pirate group that was driven away in Log Town would actually become a predator in such a short period of time. Leave this matter to Da Shang. You, Sabo, Kral and the others will be responsible for delivering the money and receiving the goods. Dolog chuckled lightly. The transaction between the 7 warlords of the sea should be much simpler, and the Big Bear's meatball fruit is also very suitable for delivery. Over the years, Big Bear has also given away a lot of things to Vegapunk's laboratory. Grand Line Gaia Island. The Gulo Sayadi appeared directly near the island, no longer as secretive and cautious as before. After Dai Dai forced back the Golden Lion Shiki and awakened Conqueror's Hockey, the atmosphere in the entire pirate group became heated, and the momentum of the entire crew also changed from top to bottom. Now they can openly declare to the outside world that Gaia Island is the territory of the Big Daddy Pirates. The merchant ships that want to do business and the pirates who want to join the pirates will all be looking for the flag of the Decepticon Susan. As the news spread, the dark forces in the underground world finally took the initiative to cooperate with Dai Dai without any considerations or scruples. Dai Dai's strength has been recognized by them. A man who can compete head-to-head with Golden Lion Shiki, and who is young enough and has very high potential, worthy of their friendship. Moreover, the Big Daddy Pirates actually have their own scientific research team. Now they have not only launched shape memory alloys, but also potions that can temporarily rejuvenate them. These are rare things. As we all know, the Big Daddy Pirates robbed the medical power of Drum Island before, and even King Wapple was captured. So it is not surprising that Dai Duo snatched away all the doctors with high medical skills. These underground emperors are just annoyed. Why don't any of the doctors they snatched know how to develop rejuvenating drugs? Are the 20 doctors left by King Wapple himself really so powerful in their medical skills and drug research? They now have to find a way to develop these rejuvenation potions. This is something that can make a lot of money. And that shape memory alloy is also very difficult to research. Even the scientists under the world government and the underground emperor can't do it. Their technology seemed to be several levels behind the scientists of the Big Daddy Pirates. The gap was a bit big, which made them very angry. All diplomacy and cooperation matters of the Big Daddy Pirates are handled by think tanks such as Devil Sheriff Lafitte, Beiji Crow, and Candleman Mr. 3. Dai Dai is recuperating on the island boat, but at this moment Dai Dai looks a bit evil. The 7-star demon pattern on his hand is actually absorbing the blood of an evolved monster. Even the Shinigami poison Q next to him feels very magical. I didn't expect that the 7-star demon sword had such ability. After Lily Carnation devoured several evolved monsters, she was able to create powerful monsters from leaves for the defense of the island. These days, Lily Carnation has also devoured a lot of pirates, and it can also evolve into several Leafman pirates with a strength of 80 to 90 million belly, which can easily deal with most of the pirate groups in the Grand Line. The most important thing is that now Lily Carnation is actually releasing some emerald green life juice to feed back Dai Dai, quickly healing and replenishing energy for Dai Dai. It can even replenish a little vitality. This is also an important reason why Lily Carnation has stayed with the Carnival Baron for more than 20 years, and the Carnival Baron has not aged much. Rumors say that the 1,000-year dragon can be used as an elixir of immortality. I didn't expect that Lily is the plant fantasy beast that prolongs life. Dai Dai said incredulously that he was almost certain that Qilin Lion and Lily Carnation were both real species of phantom beasts. The abilities they possess are not much worse than those of some phantom beast species, devil fruit. I wonder who cut off the rhizome of Lily Carnation hundreds of years ago. Lily Carnation, who lost most of her body, also lost most of her memory. The current Lily is just the new consciousness of this flower of life and death, a bit not very smart. After more than 20 years of development through Baron Carnival, her strength still has not been greatly restored or improved. Now it is better to follow the Big Daddy Pirates and enjoy the world, and there are powerful pirates and monsters everywhere for it to devour, which is much better than waiting around on Carnival Island. Dai Dai originally wanted to recuperate for a week, but unexpectedly, he recovered 90% of his injuries in just 2 days. The powerful medical skills of Poison Q, Nakin, and Dr. 20, the blood-devouring evil power of the 7-star demon pattern, the restorative power of the Kirin Lion tattoo, and the life feedback of Lily Carnation, all allowed Dai Dai to recover quickly. Now his logistics support lineup can be said to be very strong. Dai Dai left the treatment center and returned to his captain's office to prepare for the next planned action. Captain, Marine requires us to continue to encircle and suppress the pirates who joined the pirate group in exchange for more information from Marine. But those affiliated pirate groups have broken up and gone into hiding, and have even withdrawn from the Thief Leaders Association. It may be difficult for us to encircle and suppress them one by one for a while. Beiji Kella immediately reported to Dai Dai the conditions of naval headquarters and the current situation in the sea. Then don't worry about Marine and just buy information from Morgans. By the way, let me tell the Marine people that Lousy helped them eliminate pirates and didn't even give them this little bit of information and convenience, so don't blame me for not giving him face. Dai Dai, who has awakened Conqueror's Hockey, has no intention of getting used to naval headquarters' petty schemes. The time-consuming and laborious tasks of encircling and suppressing the Chief Pirates Association no longer have any benefit to the Big Daddy Pirates. It's not worth wasting the precious time of the Big Daddy Pirates, and Dai Dai doesn't want to deal with these nonsense anymore. What's more, his mission as 7 Warlords of the Sea has almost been completed. He has killed more than a dozen pirate groups now, and he doesn't need to worry about the remnants of the Thief Leaders Association in the next few months. And even if Dai Dai no longer encircles and suppresses the Thieves Association, Naval Headquarters will not do anything to the Big Daddy Pirates. This is the highlight of 7 Warlords of the Sea. They can ignore many orders from Naval Headquarters, as long as we don't refuse the forced summons from the world government. Clear. Hearing Dai Dai's domineering attitude, Beiji Kella and the others no longer cared about the tasks of Naval Headquarters. Anyway, they were not short of money now. They directly took the names of the dozen or so pirate groups written by Dai Dai to buy news and intelligence. Anyway, there was a lot of information in the underground world. In addition to big news Morgans, there are many powerful intelligence organizations. For example, the Saboti Archipelago also has many intelligence organizations. Dai Dai quickly boarded the Ark's Proverbs in the middle of the island ship. This time he was going to use this golden spaceship to conduct his first rapid hunting operation. When flying in the air, of course you have to take Nami, a talented navigator, with you. This little orange has been very active in taking care of the injured Dai Dai in the past 2 days. In this hunting operation, he is also expected to complete the first airshock battle. I wonder if that bunch of purple grapes is interested in joining in the fun. Captain, the permanent pointer of Longchain Island is ready to go at any time. Nami said excitedly that it was the first time for the Big Daddy pirates to use the golden spaceship on an expedition to plunder, so of course they had to experience it. They achieved undersea navigation with the large-scale diving raider ship White Iron King, and now they can achieve air navigation with the Ark's Proverbs. From now on, the Big Daddy pirates will be a perfect pirate group that has achieved all-round navigation on the bottom of the sea, on the sea, and in the air, enough to crush many forces. In the sky over a certain sea area on the Grand Line, a golden spaceship sailed quickly in the air, flying straight in a certain direction, with several figures standing on the bow. Old fan. The slow fruit ability can slow people down indefinitely for 30 seconds, making them almost unable to move. Are you interested? Dai Dai looked at the sea in the distance and asked casually in a relaxed tone. Foxy's slow fruit ability is very unsolvable once he is attacked. Moreover, this guy Foxy can also develop to store slow light waves in the slow lightsaber, saving the time and gestures to activate the ability during battle. If Van Oka could develop the storage to be attached to the sniper bullet, this would solve the shortcoming of the slow attack speed of slow light waves. Then, the sniper Van Oka is not only expected to work part-time as a hard control support, but he can also be a relatively unsolvable sniper. Once it hits any part of the enemy, it will freeze the enemy in place. Even if the weapon blocks it, the weapon will still stay in place, catching others off guard. Everything has its own destiny, and what should appear will appear. As long as the captain has the ability to plan for me, I'll be happy to accept it. Fan Oka replied indifferently that he believed in Dai Dai's vision and that fate would guide all choices. However, he still prefers the ability to move quickly. This is the same. Now we just capture that guy for backup. Everything has to wait until he has the ability. And if this slow fruit ability user surrenders very decisively and joins us, then I won't be able to kill him. Dai Dai chuckled and said that he would not be able to deprive these ability users of the devil fruit ability before capturing Blackbeard Teach, who possessed the dark fruit. Foxy is the type of pirate that Golden Lion Shiki calls pirates his own house. If Golden Lion Shiki and Kaido of the Beasts had encountered Foxy, they would probably have destroyed this unknown pirate long ago. Foxy has a powerful devil fruit ability, but he uses it to play Pirate House. Moreover, Foxy has played hundreds of Davy Back fight games and stayed in the Grand Line for several years. The current bounty is actually only 24 million Baileys. In the original work, when Foxy met Straw Hat Luffy, he claimed to have the legend of being undefeated in 920 games and had won many pirate minions from the pirate group. Even if he plays one game a day, it takes almost 3 years. This guy really doesn't know how many years he has been playing, and his minions have won more than hundreds or thousands. How could such a pirate have the heart to be strong? Moreover, Foxy has a very low self-esteem. Calling him butthead can easily make him negative. With such strength and character, he is indeed not worthy of becoming a crew member of the Big Daddy Pirates. It's really a waste to keep the slow fruit ability in him. However, Crocodile and Dazzle Bonus, who are currently imprisoned in the Big Daddy Pirates prison, have Sand Fruit and Dice Fruit abilities that the crew longs for. If they really had a choice, they would definitely give priority to Logia's abilities. Especially the Thunder Fruit user who is currently merging with Wapple. Even Van Oka and Badgers covet this powerful Logia ability. The speed and attack power of Thunder Fruit's abilities are among the top abilities. Dai Dai and his think tanks chatted for half an hour about future plans. After seeing Desire and Nami coming, Van Oka and the others immediately left in a conspicuous manner, no longer disturbing the captain's happiness. This was the Big Daddy Pirates' first legal expedition to plunder. The think tank didn't expect that Dai Dai would dare to attack that important island. I don't know if Naval Headquarters will be mad when they find out. However, everyone who asked Naval Headquarters to give some pirate information was hesitant, forcing Dai Dai to change his target and now want to attack important islands under the world government. Beiji Crow, Lafitte, and Fan Oka didn't know whether this plunder was Dai Dai's malicious revenge, or whether they had another purpose to plunder the island. It's not easy for them to ask for details. Anyway, they can just follow Dai Dai's orders. Then they began various exercises. Under Dai Dai's order, it would be difficult for the crew members who did not awaken the two-color hockey to continue to be the leaders of the Big Daddy Pirates. Unless your devil fruit ability is really developed to a very strong level. However, use devil fruit abilities and stamina hooks. The physical strength is not strong enough, and the fruit ability does not seem to be much stronger. Prolonged battles will eventually lead to problems. Seeing how sensible these cadres were, Desire and Nami also smiled with satisfaction. Captain, eat apple pie. Captain, eat mugwort pie. Captain, drink orange juice. The girls seemed to treat this expedition as a plunder or a honeymoon trip, and they just wanted to stick to Dai Dai's side. The change in Dai Dai's aura and temperament made him even more charming, full of masculine flavor bursting with hormones. And sailing in the air, looking at the beautiful scenery of the sea, blowing the sea breeze, and occasionally encountering white clouds, it does have a somewhat romantic atmosphere. Nico Robin did not come to join in the fun, but was quietly reading a book while sitting on a parasol, but occasionally glanced in the direction of Dai Dai. She ate the apple given by Dai Dai, and Dai Dai also ate the apple given by her. Now she is waiting for the right time in the right place. Then everything will fall into place. This man who may have come back from the future may really be her future man, a man worth paying for with his life. Nami didn't know what conditions he used to persuade the smooth girl Desire and Ranu sweetheart queen. The two women actually gave Nami more time, allowing Nami and Daidui to be alone at the bow of the boat. Anyway, amidst Nami's laughter, she stretched out her hand, shamelessly asked Daiduo for the special gold coin. As the gold coins returned to Nami's hand again, she showed a classic smile like a little thief cat. Then Nami took Dai and disappeared on the bow of the ship, and she didn't know where she went. There are some small eyes and ears in the bow, deck, aisle, captain's cabin, and some hidden corners. A gold coin that responds to requests. Can Nami give this captain an unconditional order once more? Nico Robin frowned slightly and murmured, before the last duel between Dai Dai and Golden Lion Shiki, Nami threw the gold coin to Dai Dai, and it was probably a condition that he asked for at that time. Nami robbed the gold coins again. Couldn't he still ask Daiduo to complete an order? Now that the two of them disappeared, Nico Robin didn't even need to think about it, and he knew that they were going to have a romantic relationship. They might be in the dormitory, studying the method of pulling out radishes or studying calligraphy, but the characters in Dai Dai's hometown are really difficult to write, such as Ram and Kun. These characters are even harder to understand than the ancient characters in historical texts. Moreover, Dai Dai has made an appointment with Nico Robin to study the various writing methods and detailed explanations of these words in the past 2 days. In the captain's dormitory, a hemispherical shield covered the big bed, completely isolating the sounds inside and outside, so as to prevent the sound of reading aloud from disturbing others. There was the sound of reading inside, and Dai Diazai tirelessly imparted some cultural knowledge to Nami to make up for Nami's regret of not being able to go to school when she was a child. Dai Dai wanted to let Nami learn excellent literature and poetry and cultivate her sentiment. He selected the best lines on the spot, combined the essence of each poem, and recited a poem. In the spring of the city, the vegetation is deep and the moss marks are green on the upper steps. Dance to clear the shadows, the pear blossoms overwhelm the begonias. These poems are Daiduo's sincere teachings to Nami, and each sentence can help her reach the pinnacle of life. After they got tired of learning poetry, they learned about medicine and biology, such as compound grass coral and hematopoietic stem cells. Finally, even mathematics is taught, such as the square difference formula and the Pythagorean theorem. This knowledge will make it easier for Nami to draw nautical charts in the future. In the captain's dormitory, although there was no sound, there seemed to be some small petal eyes in some hidden locations observing carefully and studying hard. Dai Dai didn't pay attention to Nico Robin's trick. The walls have eyes. Instead, he generously displayed various knowledge points. He expressed his approval and praise for Robin's serious and hardworking behavior. This is no less than the arduous study of cutting through walls to steal light. Robin is worthy of being a talented girl who already has a doctorate in archaeology at the age of 8. Her passion for learning is worthy of Dai Dai's admiration and recognition. It seems that this bunch of purple grapes has a lot of theoretical knowledge and is ready to go to the examination room at any time to study for graduate school and PhD. The practice lasted for 2.5 hours, when Dai Dai felt refreshed and finished tutoring Nami. He left Nami, who was tired and unable to bear the weight of study, to rest in the captain's quarters and walked to the deck alone. He saw Nico Robin lying on the sun lounger, twisting his legs, wearing sunglasses, and reading a thick book with a red face. Dai Dai showed a meaningful Nike smile and walked to sit next to Nico Robin. Dr. Robin, it seems that you are holding the book upside down. Dai Dai casually picked up an apple on the table and took a bite, and then said jokingly. He also took Robin's drink without any scruples and took a sip to quench his thirst. His words made Nico Robin quickly turn over the book. But she quickly realized that after turning it over, it turned out to be the other side. She knew she had been tricked, so she forced herself to calm down and turned the book back over. I actually felt a little nervous, being fooled by Dai Dai's little trick. Why are you so panicked? Do you want to eat an apple? Dai Dai looked at Nico Robin, who was wearing very cool clothes, with burning eyes. He took a bite out of the apple and handed it to her. In recent months, after Nico Robin left Alabasta, he used so many whitening skincare products. Now this royal sister has become a lot whiter, and is slowly becoming the Robin in Dai Dai's heart. Nami, a beginner, simply cannot learn all the knowledge points Dai Dai has, so now Dai Dai needs to find another student to teach him excellent cultural knowledge. Huh. How much money do you still have in your stomach? You'd better eat and rest, my lord captain. Nico Robin hummed while pretending to be expressionless, and quickly changed the position of her crossed legs. She was a little uncomfortable now and wanted to go back to take a shower and change clothes. My energy is beyond your imagination. Eat, let's study ancient texts and exchange cultural knowledge together. Dai Dai also noticed Nico Robin's strange movements, and his tone became a little tougher, and he directly handed the apple to her mouth. Nico Robin's big eyes and Dai Dai's scorching eyes met, and the two of them fought fiercely for a while with their eyes like thunder and fire. In the end, Robin was defeated, opened his mouth slightly, took a bite of the apple, then got up from the sun lounger and walked straight to his room. Dai Dai smiled, swallowed the apple that Robin had bitten in several mouthfuls, threw away the core, and quickly followed Robin into the room. On this day, Dai Dai realized how passionate Nico Robin was about studying ancient texts, but he was the only one who knew about it in this life, and it was not enough to tell outsiders. Nico Robin, who has the flower fruit ability, has at least 5 times the combat power of Nami. Moreover, Robin is rich in knowledge and has a solid foundation, and can completely crush the gangster sisters and female pirates such as Desire and Sugar Queen who lack knowledge. On the way to this expedition and plunder, Dai Dai thoroughly enjoyed the taste of heaven, leaving behind his favorite memory in his life. 2 days later, Longchain Island waters. Dai Dai, who had been happy for 2 days, finally left the gentle village of study with high spirits and once again devoted himself to the imperial hegemony. After feeling extremely comfortable, Dai Dai felt that his courage had actually improved to a higher level. He wakes up and holds the power of the world, but he lies drunk on the knees of a beautiful woman. It's probably this kind of heroic and domineering state that I'm talking about. Not long after, the crew of the Big Daddy pirates on the Golden Spaceship saw densely packed pirates on Longchain Island, and there were extremely noisy shouts, as if it was a sports meeting. It felt like at least 1,000 people were cheering and shouting. Dai Dai stood on the bow of the Ark's Proverbs, looking at the vast sea and the dense swarm of pirates like ants, and a sense of pride and ambition arose spontaneously. After Ark Proverbs approached the island, Dai Dai showed a Dragon King's smile, and actually jumped off the ship. Ha 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 ha. During the landing process, Dai Dai laughed unbridled, and a terrifying momentum burst out. He was frantically venting his conqueror's haki. However, because Dai Dai had only been awakened for a few days and had not yet learned to control conqueror's haki, even the crew of the Big Daddy pirates on Ark Proverbs felt a little dizzy. Wahaha. Is this the captain's conqueror's haki? It's too scary. Fighting champion Badgers had cold sweat on his forehead, holding one hand on the railing, and laughed a little shocked. Dai Dai had already jumped off the boat, so far away from the Ark's Proverbs, and he still exploded against the pirates below, but it still had a strong frightening effect on them. I knew that the choice of fate would not be wrong. Shinigami Du-Q smiled sickly, and the demon horse Zhuangzhuang he sat down on was also trembling. This terrifying conqueror's haki is probably already stronger than many famous conquerors. Want to know how old Dai Dai is? How many days have it been since conqueror's haki awakened? Isn't this natural? Otoyoshi Van Oka and Devil Sheriff Lafitte showed a smile, and their faces became more determined. Captain Dai Dai will definitely lead them to the top. Such momentum. Pirate Hunter Zoro didn't feel too intimidated because he also had a tough and restrained aura about him. But he felt that the distance between himself and Dai Dai seemed to be increasing again, which made him modify and break through his training plan again. The love and admiration in the eyes of the 4 women, Robin, Nami, Desire, and Queen Sweetheart, became more and more intense. This powerful captain was their man. You have to become stronger so you can always be by his side. Sliding Girl Desire said firmly that she will continue to practice and develop Devil Fruit's abilities, at least to reach the supernova level with a bounty of hundreds of millions. I also want to be a demon fruit power. Nami, the little thief cat, looked at the high-spirited Dai Dai and suddenly felt a little thirsty for power. Among these women, she was the weakest. Apart from her talent for navigation, she had no other abilities that could be used. Even when exchanging knowledge in the room, her combat effectiveness is the weakest. In order to help Dai Dai and become his strength, she was willing to give up her favorite sports of the sea and swimming and become a landlubber. She has now prepared her second training plan to strengthen her physique and practice hockey. She has also successfully learned Beiji Crow's silent steps, and with the combination of various Kongbei's attacks, she already has the power to protect herself. The few ability users that Dai Dai left behind may be planning their Devil Fruit abilities. Nami, you're probably the luckiest person who hasn't taken the Devil Fruit yet. Because in the future, you can choose those Devil Fruit abilities. Nico Robin comforted Nami. As a member of the brain trust of the Big Daddy Pirates, of course she also knew a little bit about Dai Dai's secret plan. Dai Dai's expedition to plunder seems to be to capture some demon fruit power in advance, and then wait for some kind of ability to appear. And from what Dai Dai said, Robin could deduce that it was a technology or special ability that could deprive others of their Devil Fruit abilities. Robin now believes more and more that Dai Dai is a man who came back from the future and knows many secrets in the future. Under the leadership of this captain, the crew members who have not taken advantage of the Devil Fruit's ability are the luckiest people. Really? Nami immediately said excitedly, whether it is Crocodile's Logia Sand Fruit or Enel's Logia Thunder Fruit, they are extremely powerful abilities. If she can get a Logia Devil Fruit ability, her strength may immediately surpass the three women of Robin and become the strongest woman around Dai Dai. Who knows, in short, you can completely trust our Big Daddy. Nico Robin smiled softly, with a hint of shame in his eyes. From now on, they would try to call Dai Duo as Big Daddy or Baba, in private. Big Daddy is really good and knowledgeable. The Devil Fruit ability he helped us develop is very powerful. I didn't expect that Big Daddy has a lot of knowledge that even Robin doesn't know about. Queen Ranu Sweetheart chuckled and said that under the guidance and development of Dai Dai, her paste fruit ability became more and more powerful, and Dai Dai asked her to major in observation hockey, so that her paste body could become a semi-element of mimicry. Change. Dai Dai also bought a lot of information about Katakuri, the leader of the four generals, and the gummy man Gaspardi in the underground intelligence organization, so that Queen Sweetheart could learn their development direction for reference. Now, both the women in Dai Dai and the crew members, in this atmosphere where everyone is getting stronger, are subtly participating in this competition of strength. The crew members of the second echelon, Sonic Ed Drago, Tornado Eric, Ghost Man Akin, and Steel Bear, are all practicing hard. They want to rely on their strength to enter the first echelon of the Big Daddy Pirates. Like Captain Dai Dai, they are from the East Blue and do not want to be upstaged by officials from other sea areas, proving that their East Blue is not the weakest sea. Longchain Island. The Fokker West Blue Pirate Group once again launched the Davy Backfight Pirate Cruel game against a passing pirate group, and conducted a crew gambling battle. They have always used this kind of competition to annex other people's pirate groups. However, Foxy relied on his slow fruit ability to make the pirate groups who were confident in gambling lose everything. Some pirate groups even lost their captains, resulting in all members being merged into the Fok West Blue Pirate Group. And some pirate groups that have lost their navigators and ship's doctors, even if they stop playing games and choose to continue sailing, there is a high possibility that they will be wiped out if they encounter a storm or illness. Foxy has a very despicable character and often uses unfair means to win games, but he is very generous to the pirates he wins, which has won him the support of many new and old crew members. This also allowed the Fokker West Blue Pirate Group to become larger and larger after annexing many pirate groups. Although they are all minions-level pirates, they are really large in number and have many races. Today, amid the cheers of many younger brothers, Foxy once again used the invincible ability of the slow fruit to beat up the captain of a pirate group. He has already won the flag and sails of this pirate group, and now the pirate captain has stepped forward and bet his own navigator and ship's doctor. Foxy showed a treacherous smile. In most of the games, he first won the flag of the opposing pirate group and took away their dignity. Then, the pirates on the opposite side will definitely be reluctant to leave, and will keep competing to win back the pirate flag. Then, Foxy can keep taking advantage of them and raise the stakes higher and higher. In the end, the opposing pirate group, the pirate ship and even the captain were defeated, completely disbanding the pirate group. Ha! I will take everything from you. Nine Tails fast attack. The slow lightsaber in Foxy's hand locked the captain of the frog pirates opposite him in place, and then used his fast punch. The afterimage of the fist was a bit like Straw Hat Luffy's rubber machine gun. The captain was completely unable to move due to the power of the slow fruit, but the injuries from Foxy's heavy punches accumulated on him. As long as the 30 seconds of the slow fruit pass, all the injuries will burst out at the moment the time is restored, damaging the enemy in one fell swoop. Sure enough, the moment the slow fruit ability disappeared, the captain was thrown out with blood spurting from his mouth and nose. He rolled dozens of times on the ground and lost the qualification to fight again. Hey, frog pirates, your captain has been defeated, so your navigator and ship's doctor are ours. Foxy laughed, and Fox's pirate crew immediately grabbed the two cadres of the frog pirates and put on their exclusive fox eye patches. Just when the Fokker West Blue thieves were cheering fiercely for the captain's victory, a terrifying momentum came from the sky. A large number of cheering pirates instantly rolled their eyes and fell to the ground like dominoes. What happened? Foxy the Silver Fox felt a terrifying pressure on his body, which made him unable to move, and even his thinking was a bit stagnant, as if he had been possessed by the slow fruit. Next, Foxy felt a strong dizziness that made him tremble all over. His face turned pale, and he struggled to raise his head to look at the sky. He saw a figure falling rapidly in the sky. Then in his shocked eyes, a huge giant appeared out of thin air and smashed onto the ground. The huge sound waves and the splashing soil caused the island to shake violently on a small scale. Foxy was so frightened by this horrific scene that he almost fell down from the shock. Masaka. Foxy the Silver Fox was now covered in cold sweat. He looked at this barrier giant in disbelief. How could such a big man appear here? 7 warlords of the sea. Big Daddy Babaya, the terrifying new king who has been making a lot of noise in the news recently. Why did he appear from the sky on Longchain Island? Is this the legendary conqueror's haki? Foxy trembled and murmured. Just a single blow of pressure caused hundreds of his younger brothers to fall down. What a terrifying power it was. After the barrier giant appeared briefly and successfully landed, it quickly disappeared. A figure slowly walked out of the smoke and dust of the giant pit and walked straight towards Foxy. And in the sky, a golden spaceship is also landing quickly, preparing to land directly on Changlian Island. Seeing Dai Dai's figure getting closer and closer, Foxy's whole body trembled more and more. This increasingly intense conqueror's haki was already unbearable for him. At this critical moment, in addition to surrendering, a thought flashed through his mind, whether to sneak attack Big Daddy Babaya with slow light waves and then kill him. If he had no intention of calculating, he would have a 50% chance of successfully plotting and overthrowing the 7 warlords of the sea. Then you can really become famous in one battle. Maybe he can succeed as the new 7 warlords of the sea. Thinking of this, he felt a little excited, and he was actually not so afraid of Big Daddy Babaya. However, before the fantasy of dividing the bad guy was over, Dai Dai had already walked up to him. What a waste of such a good ability. Bang! When Foxy saw Dai Dai standing so close, an expression of excitement suddenly appeared on his face, and he immediately wanted to activate the power of the slow fruit to imprison him. However, the moment he raised his hand, a huge armed black fist hit him in the stomach. Foxy instantly hunched over, his eyes popped out, and fell to the ground like a prawn. Then he foamed at the mouth, rolled his eyes, and completely lost consciousness. Hesitation will lead to defeat. Even sneak attacks are not decisive enough. What a waste. Dai Dai dismissed his conqueror's haki, glanced at Foxy who was lying on the ground, and said calmly. Dai Dai didn't expect that this guy could resist his conqueror's haki for so long, and he could also counterattack a little. It seemed that he still had some strength, and was not as unbearable as he imagined. I saw that the ground was full of pirate minions who couldn't hold conqueror's haki, they were too weak. Dai Dai couldn't arouse any interest and was too lazy to care about these weaklings. However, there seemed to be a few murlocs inside, and they might be able to be brought aboard the Gulosiati and serve as lower-level soldiers in the underwater force. Currently, there is only one half-captive fish giant in the Big Daddy Pirates, and that is Sebastian, who belongs to the Walled Pirates. Under the control and threat of Dai Dai, he was also guarding the Gulosiati, and taught other crew members how to learn fishman karate. There seems to be a tendency to integrate into the Big Daddy Pirates, as well as the remaining remnants of the Walled Pirates. Of course, they haven't completely given up waiting for Berndy-Wald as captain. However, they cannot escape Dai Dai's control now, and they do not want to leave the Guluo Sayati, so they can only work and serve Dai Dai. Dai Dai planned to select a few pirates of rare races from the Fokker West Blue pirate group to replenish the lower-level troops of the island ship. In fact, over the years, Foxy has robbed many pirate groups through the cruel pirate game, and he has several fishmen under his command. The swordfish man Kabati, the loach fish giant Bikapanda, the squid man Zubai, the swordfish man Killerin. There is even a cheetah fur tribe named Jijijita. He is as fast as a cheetah and has very good racial talents. However, this guy doesn't seem to have awakened the moon lion form, and I don't know if it's because his bloodline is not pure enough. This rare race, under the protection of Foxy, was not captured by slave traders and sold for money, and they even managed to get along well in the Foxy West Blue Bandit group. Captain, you have already taken care of these guys by yourself, can't you leave a few for us to practice on? After Ark's proverbs landed, Badger saw the fainted pirates all over the ground and couldn't help but complain. This powerful captain left the crew with no room to perform at all, which was a bit uncomfortable. Put this guy in seastone handcuffs, and after these miscellaneous fish wake up, select a few men of rare races to go back and train them. Dai Dai didn't pay attention to the crew members' complaints. He threw Foxy to Lafitte and then said to all the crew members. And he checked out the Longchain Island to see if there were any good things, and at the same time, he became proficient in his conqueror's hockey. The animals on this island are all surprisingly slender, defying logic at all, and I don't know how they survive. They are not very powerful, and are not even qualified to be Lily Carnation's food. Dai Dai directly regarded these long animals as experiments for his practice of conqueror's hockey. At this moment, each long-bodied animal was shocked by the sudden appearance of conquerors. They rolled their eyes and fell to the ground. Dai Dai is working hard to practice the targeted release of conqueror's hockey instead of indiscriminate shock. The crew of the Big Daddy Pirates, after waking up from the minions of the Fokker West Blue Pirates, completely subdued these pirates under the threat of killing chickens to scare the monkeys. They began to select soldiers for the Guluo Sayati, and were surprised when they saw fish people and fur tribes. Then give priority to bringing these rare races back for training. Several cadres who could be named were subdued, and Lafitte asked them to take a pirate ship, plant the flag of the Big Daddy Pirates, and report to Gaia Island. I understand that these pirates do not dare to escape midway, otherwise they will face the pursuit of 7 warlords of the sea. And now that they are attached to the Big Daddy Pirates, they will not even think about escaping as long as they are not twitchy. The Fokker West Blue Pirate Group was also announced to be disbanded by the crew of the Big Daddy Pirate Group, and most of the extremely weak pirates were expelled. When Dai Dai came back from practicing conquerors, these reliable crew members had taken care of everything and there was no need for him to worry at all. Let's go to the next island. Dai Dai led the crew on board the ship and rushed directly to the next target without stopping too much. The purpose of this expedition to plunder is to be quick, accurate and ruthless, just get your things and leave. Grand Line's famous shipbuilding island, the capital of the 7 waters. Today's Frankie Dismantling House, as always, dismantles these low-priced scrap ships and carries out secondary recycling of waste. However, this amount of income is not enough to support the entire Frankie family members. They often go out to fight in the autumn wind and rob the new pirates. 2 giant Imperial Blues carry members of the Frankie family in the waterways of the capital of 7 waters, looking for those stupid blue pirates who look easy to bully. The leader, Iron Man Frankie, needs a lot of money to build his own good ship and continue to transform his body, so he doesn't mind robbing these nasty pirates. In the Carrera Company owned by Bingshan, the 5 major shipbuilders are working hard to build the ships on their orders. Whether they are merchant ships or pirate ships, they still build them. And among the many shipbuilding orders of Carrera Company, the number of pirate ships is actually not less than the number of other ships. A boatman wearing a black hat was knocking on the ship's bones. His muscles were very solid and his eyes were very focused, like a peerless craftsman. Suddenly, he raised his head and looked into the sky. His face changed slightly and his pupils shrank suddenly. A white dove fluttered and flew to his shoulder. It also imitated its master and looked seriously at the sky. Not far away, a man with a long nose wearing a black peaked cap noticed something strange about his companion. He also looked at the sky, and his eyes began to change. What's wrong? Lucci, Kaku. As one of the 5 foremen of Carrera Shipbuilding Company's #1 dockyard, Barry also discovered something strange about the 2 foremen. The flying pirate ship, is it the Golden Lion Shiki? Telestone. who is also one of the 5 foremen, looked at the sky and immediately screamed in horror. Is there anyone who has not heard of the name of the Sky Pirates? Oops. Notify Mayor Bingshan quickly and organize citizens to evacuate. Notify Marine for support. The last foreman, Bipley, immediately started shouting, quickly dropped what he was doing, and began to pack up various tools and evacuate. The ship can be rebuilt, but if its life is gone, it is truly gone. It's not Golden Lion Shaki, it's the Big Daddy Pirates. Rob Lucci's pupils turned into those of a feline when he looked at the sky, but when he looked down at Barry and the others, they had returned to normal. What? The 7 warlords of the sea who defeated Golden Lion Shaki. Barry also screamed in shock. If a 7 warlords of the sea came to rob the 7 waters capital, they didn't know if the naval headquarters and world government would help them recover their losses. After all, the 7 warlords of the sea have the legal right to plunder. The most important thing is that the 7 warlords of the sea will also pay a proportion of the stolen money to the world government. They are really complicit. It's important to save your life. Call Mayor Bingshan to evacuate immediately. Tillstone had already pulled Barry and Bipley out of dock number 1, and he also did not forget to call the 2 foremen, Rob Lucci and Kaku. After Lucci and Kaku looked at each other, they immediately evacuated, but they and Barry, the 3 foremen, quickly evacuated separately. Rob Lucci immediately took out a phone bug and told the intelligence intermediary at Blue No Bar about the special situation here. The 7 warlords of the sea, Big Daddy Babaya, may soon launch an invasion and plunder of the 7 Waters City, and they need to ensure the safety of the mission target, Iceberg. Because the clues to Pluton's design lie in Tom's disciple Iceberg. For this design, they, CP9, have been lurking in the capital of 7 Waters for several years. Therefore, CP9 must not let the 7 warlords of the sea interfere with their mission, especially not let Daddy Babaya capture or kill Iceberg. Otherwise, several years of lurking will be in vain. You know, the 2 CP agents, Rob Lucci and Yamakaze Kaku, have been working for several years and learned a lot of shipbuilding knowledge, and then they gradually became one of the top 5 foremen and became important subordinates of President Bingshan. Even Khalifa lurked for several years before gaining a little trust from Bingshan and became the secretary of Bingshan's office. But until now, CP9 has still found nothing about Pluton's design drawings. Soon, with the news from Rob Lucci, CP members such as Blue No and Khalifa also quickly learned the information. Inside Carrera's office. President Bingshan, there is a big pirate invasion in the 7 Waters, we must move to a safe place. Khalifa pretended to be panicked, rushed into the office in a hurry, and shouted to Bingshan with a look of panic. And her panicked eyes have been observing Bingshan's reaction. If they suddenly encounter such a major danger, the target person's first thought should be the safety of Pluton's design drawings. As long as Bingshan intends to transfer the design drawings, Khalifa will be sure to steal the Pluton design drawings from this old fox. What? Why don't you call Marine over quickly? Hurry up and let the citizens take the sea train to evacuate. When Bingshan heard Khalifa's words, he immediately rushed out of the office and ran towards the port dock without any other unnecessary movements or micro-expression changes. Seeing Bingshan's running back, Khalifa frowned slightly. This didn't seem to match her guess. Could it be that Bingshan didn't have the Pluton design drawing? But she quickly caught up with him. Iceberg must not die before getting Pluton's design. The entire capital of 7 Waters soon sounded the sharp siren sound that would only occur when a tsunami from the water gods hit. This scared many citizens and hurriedly ran to higher ground to seek refuge. But soon, they didn't seem to see any sign of the tsunami, and the weather was very good, and it didn't seem like a sign of heavy rain coming from the water gods. The Frankie family, who was looking for a robbery target, faced the sudden turmoil in the 7 Rivers city, so they had no choice but to give up their plan to fight against the autumn wind and prepare to follow the mainstream to avoid the tsunami. But soon, their attention was attracted by a spaceship. Boss Frankie, it's a flying pirate ship, and it seems there's a lot of gold on it. Zambia, the captain of the Frankie family, shouted in shock, with half fear and half greed in his eyes. For a flying pirate ship, he could only think of the legendary pirate Golden Lion Shaki, but the gold on it was really attractive. Frankie also looked solemnly at the sky. Big pirates like Golden Lion Shaki are not easy to deal with. The capital of 7 Waters may face a huge disaster today. Brother Frankie, they seem to be flying towards our position. The 2 girls with square hair said in a panic that it was fine if they were asked to bully the rookie pirates, but when faced with legendary pirates like the Sky Pirates, they should run as fast as they could. Otherwise, I don't know how I will die. If they are not good enough, they will be gone with a slap in the face. Golden Spaceship Arc Proverbs. Otonokoshi Van Oka looked through the long-range scope of the famous gun Chiriku and saw the target figure, a blue-haired pervert man wearing only underwear. Iron Man Frankie, the boss of Frankie's disintegration house in the Seven Waters City. The Big Daddy Pirates have already successfully obtained this information through underground intelligence organizations and spent money. Think tanks such as Beiji Crow and Lafitte don't know why Dady wants to investigate Karami minions like Frankie's dismantling house and Blue No Bar. Carrera Company's president Bingshan and the top 5 boatmen are relatively well-known figures. Aren't these talented people awesome? If these boatmen are robbed, the Galosiati might be able to be upgraded. Nico Robin is also a little curious. Has Dai Dai seen the fate of these 2 unknown people in the future? Robin was now wildly speculating in his mind about what was special about these 2 people that allowed Dai Dai to come all the way to kill them, even launching an invasion of the Seven Rivers capital, a heavy island under the command of the world government. Capture Iron Man Frankie and don't let him take any action. We must defeat the enemy with one strike. Dai Dai ordered expressionlessly, his serious eyes making both Shinigami Poison Q and Devil Sheriff Lafitte become extremely serious. Could it be that this Iron Man Frankie is some kind of hidden strongman? How could Captain Dai Dai pay so much attention to it? This serious expression is almost as serious as the one when dealing with Golden Lion Shiki. A colorless and odorless supervirus will appear in the hands of Shinigami Poison Q, ready to attack Iron Man Frankie at any time. Devil Sheriff Lafitte also grew wings, the cane and sword in his hand were unsheathed, and his pupils also changed, full of confusing power. Otonokoshi Van Oka also switched to highly poisonous bullets and seastone bullets, carefully aiming at the enemy that could make Dai Duo so serious. Seeing that each of the cadres was ready, the other crew members immediately prepared their strongest attacks. Sonic Edrag's mouth began to accumulate power, and Tornado Elric's palms were also condensing and compressing the wind blades. The Steel Bear's body turned red, and the temperature began to soar. Even Nico Robin has his hands crossed, ready to activate the Flower Fruit ability, and Queen Sugar's hands turn into paste, ready to launch a mountain of meteor paste. Seeing that even Zoro started to pull out 3 knives, Dai Duo knew that his tone seemed a bit too serious. Wait a minute. Stop the powerful destructive moves. Frankie has something very important. I don't want him to destroy himself, let alone one of our own. Dai Dai's words immediately caused Sonic Edrag to forcefully disperse the sonic energy in his mouth, and he was almost injured by his own power. Even Nico Robin rolled her eyes at Dai Dui, but she was still ready to attack and suppress Frankie's actions at any time. Then leave it to me. A lot of colorless and odorless viruses suddenly appeared on Shinigami Poison Q's body, rushing towards the Frankie family below. When the Frankie family saw the golden spaceship getting closer and closer, they quickly ran away. Frankie felt as if the other party was targeting him, which made him feel a little uncomfortable. He subconsciously covered his chest. The Pluton design was hidden in his modified body. Only he knew this secret, not even his senior brother Bingshan. On the other side, Bingshan ignored Khalifa's obstruction and insisted on seeing what kind of big pirate he was, trying to invade the Seven Waters capital where he dedicated his life. Even the 5 foremen of the Carrera Shipbuilding Company that I met on the road could not stop the mayor and president. Bingshan's appearance of not fearing death made Khalifa and Rob Lucci a little suspicious. But the Pluton design drawing is not on Bingshan, but on someone else. Many boatmen of the Carrera Company immediately protected the willful president, and together they bravely faced the invasion of the 7 warlords of the sea. The situation on Frankie's side was basically over. Frankie's family, the Square sisters Kiwei and Maz, as well as Captain Zanbai, younger brothers Danzi and Kepu, could not withstand the freezing effects of Poison Q and fell down one after another. Even the 2 huge Emperor Brew fell into a coma. Only the cyborg, Iron Man Frankie, could barely stand still. Hateful. Frankie now feels dizzy and may fall down at any time and lose consciousness. I absolutely can't faint, at least I can't fall into the hands of pirates. Frankie didn't know what the other party's purpose was. If they came here for the Pluton design, he would definitely destroy the design and not let the pirates get it. Suddenly, another strong momentum came over him, causing Frankie to finally roll his eyes and fall to the ground unwillingly. Poison Q, your virus is not strong enough, it almost ruined my big event. Dai Dai's Conqueror's hockey still hasn't been put away. If he hadn't done a last-ditch attack, he might have given Frankie a chance to destroy the Pluton design drawings on him. Captain, it's my fault. I didn't know that this kind of modified person could be immune to some toxins. Poison Q immediately took up the blame and will develop a more powerful version of the coma virus next time. Lafitte immediately flew down and caught Iron Man Frankie on the Ark Proverbs ship. And this scene happened to be seen by Bingshan. His expression suddenly changed, and his eyes were full of panic. This made Khalifa, who had been observing the iceberg, feel a little bad. Could it be that the Pluton design drawings really belonged to someone else? And what a coincidence, and he was captured by the new 7 warlords of the sea. Is this really such a coincidence? Then their mission is going to fail? Or are they going to lurk in the Carrera Company in the future and continue to lurk on the Big Daddy Pirates ship? If Big Daddy Bobby's goal is also Pluton's design, then their mission will immediately fail. At this moment, Khalifa immediately gave Rob Lucci a look, moved his lips a few times, and said a lip language. The Pluton design may be in the hands of Iron Man Frankie, who was captured by Big Daddy Bobby. This news made Rob Lucci frown. In fact, before this, they had also investigated something strange about Bingshan and Frankie. Tom's other apprentice, Carter Frame, had been hit and killed by a marine train many years ago. Even his body was not found. However, Marine had already announced Frame's death at that time. However, this information has always made the CP organization suspicious. The person who can make icebergs move so much now, this Iron Man Frankie, is most likely the Carter Frame back then. As a member of CP9 with a background as an agent and spy, and having spent a long time with Bingshan, Khalifa can truly feel Bingshan's panic. This is not an act or out of concern for ordinary citizens. This Iron Man Frankie is really very important to the iceberg, or only that kind of family can show such expressions and eyes. CP9 Khalifa is already 70% to 80% certain that the Pluton design drawings are in the hands of Iron Man Frankie. No wonder she has been lurking next to Bingshan for several years and worked as a secretary for several years, but Bingshan didn't reveal any flaws. She even knew exactly what color panties Bingshan was wearing today and where the private collection of small imperial books was hidden. In the end, we still couldn't find any information about Pluton's design drawings. It turned out that the design drawings were not in Bingshan's hands at all. Seeing that the airship has left with Iron Man Frankie, Khalifa and Rob Lucci can only be anxious. There is no other way. Do they have to catch up on the moonwalk? Putting aside the issue of exposure, can the 3 of them defeat this new 7 warlords of the sea's entire ship of pirates? Now their level of anxiety is not much lower than that of Bingshan. They're flying towards the island. Yamakaze Kaku said immediately, and Bingshan forced himself to calm down. He could not reveal too much of his emotions. He also knew that someone from the world government was investigating him. He also knew this very well, who called him Tom's apprentice. Let's go. We can't let any citizen of the Seven Waters City be harmed. Bingshan immediately persuaded the mayor and rushed towards the golden spaceship. The foreman of Carrera Company also hurriedly followed his president. Khalifa pretended to be weak and ran slowly behind, and Lucci and Kaku were also a little slower. In that direction, Diddy Babaya should be going to the Blue No Tavern, right? Even Rob Lucci felt that what happened today was a bit too strange. The Big Daddy Pirates actually captured Frankie, an Iron Man, without even bothering Mayor Bingshan, which gave him a bad feeling. Hurry up and let the CP chief intervene, let the world government take action. Let the 7 warlords of the sea Babaya hand over Iron Man Frankie. Then let Blue No see if he can drug the wine to stun the pirates, and then directly snatch away Iron Man Frankie. Khalifa suggested to the captain, Lu Chi, that if this mission, which had been lurking for several years, failed and clues to Pluton's design were lost, they would probably be severely punished. Lu Chi thought for a while, and immediately found a corner to report today's events and all speculations to Enies Lobby's CP9 chief Spandam, and see what the instructions above were. Grab him. Who cares 7 warlords of the sea, steal him. Spandam said excitedly without saying a word, what other reports and instructions are needed? As long as he can get the Pluton design drawings and claim credit from the world government, he can even kill the 7 warlords of the sea directly. The 7 warlords of the sea are not just dogs raised by the world government, they are a group of despicable pirates. Rob Lucci, who had received the order from his superior, was also ready to take action to snatch people from the 7 warlords of the sea. Bluno in the bar also received advance notice from Khalifa and was preparing to plot against Big Daddy Babaya, the 7 warlords of the sea. At this time, on the golden spaceship of the Big Daddy pirates, Dai directly opened the chest of the reformer Frankie, which made Nami cover her eyes in fear. However, she slowly calmed down when she saw that there was no blood spattering. Dai folded it on the back and top of Frankie's coke device, pulled it apart a few times, and finally found a yellowed blueprint. He also showed a satisfied smile. He directly snatched the Pluton design drawing. Before the other crew members could see what it was, Dai Dui had already put it in his arms. At this time, it was not appropriate to reveal Pluton's design because he would continue to hunt in the capital of Seven Waters. He did not want loud public figures like Ed Drago and Badgers to expose the secret of Pluton's design. At least he has to return to his hometown to let these crew members know something about the situation. And after returning to the Galosiati, we might be able to taunt and seduce the Sunere Sand Crocodile. Crocodile had been planning the Pluton battleship for more than 10 or 20 years, but Dai Dai had obtained the Pluton design drawings in less than a year. I wonder if this Sand Crocodile will change its mind and work under Dai Dai. When the other crew members saw Dai Dai hiding things, they felt a little itchy in their hearts, and all of them looked like they wanted to ask but didn't dare to ask. We'll talk about this later. Now prepare to hunt and capture Paramecia Gate fruit users. Dai Dai chuckled, and then waved for Frankie to recover and tie him up. This guy also had a bad temper and would probably be difficult to control. However, the Pluton design and some island technology may be able to attract this transformation madman. Moreover, the Big Daddy pirates also have precious things like shape memory alloys. This expensive alloy is most suitable for transformers like him. If he hadn't been worried that Frankie would burn Pluton's design drawings if he disagreed, he wouldn't have adopted such a brutal method of direct robbery. Now that the Pluton design drawings have been obtained, we can slowly discuss the terms later. If Frankie, a mechanic and shipbuilder, is unwilling to join, Dai Dai has other alternatives. Clear. The crew members did not dwell on this issue and were immediately diverted by the topic of hunting ability users. Old rules. There is still only one chance. Otherwise, if this door fruit ability user escapes into a different space, it will be difficult for us to catch him. Dai Dai changed back to his serious look, which made the crew members immediately prepare their surprise moves. Nekoshi Van Oka directly loaded the Seastone bullet this time, and Badgers brought his Seastone gloves. Dai Dai feels that his barrier ball cannot trap Blue No, who possesses the gate fruit. This kind of space ability can ignore terrain, buildings and any collision objects, which is very rogue. Blue No in the original book is also quite outrageous, choosing to use Iron Body and Straw Hat Luffy to go head to head. The space ability of the gate fruit can obviously be used to make Straw Hat Luffy have no way to deal with it. Seeing the golden spaceship hovering over the Blue No bar, many pirates and tourists were frightened and fled the bar, fearing that they would encounter some innocent disaster. The Ark's Proverbs slowly landed low in the sky, suspended on the roof of the Blue No bar, and the crew of the Big Daddy pirates jumped directly from the ship. Boss. Serve wine, serve wine. Dai Dai tossed a black metal coin in his hand and looked like a rogue captain. Surrounded by many crew members, he broke into the bar cursing. Blue No's hand wiping the wine glass tightened, but he quickly calmed down. This is the quality of a professional spy. Welcome, Captain. What kind of wine would you like to drink? Blue No immediately asked respectfully and humbly, with the bounties and information about all the members of the Big Daddy pirates flashing through his mind. Especially the personal details of Dadi Babaya, a Paramecia barrier fruit user. In short, he is very powerful. I want all the wine and everything I see, Dai Dai said with a smile, throwing the black metal coin in his hand towards the horn bartender, and Blue No subconsciously reached out to catch the coin. The moment Blue No touched the black coin, he felt a strong sense of powerlessness. Then a huge black fist appeared in front of him, and a sniper gun rang out on the other side. There was even a colorless and odorless virus in the air that entered Blue No's body. Seastone. Blue No's pupils shrank suddenly, and while losing strength, the door fruit ability on his body was no longer able to be used. He could only watch as Dai Dai's armed colored fist hit his face. Boom. Blue No felt a heavy blow to his face, and a violent pain and dizziness came, letting him know that he was about to lose consciousness. Blue No's eyes have turned white, blood is splattered from his mouth and nose, and the black coin in his hand has been thrown away, but he still feels weak and unable to use the gate fruit ability. Because the sniper's bullet had already entered his shoulder, it did not penetrate through, but was cleverly stuck on the shoulder blade. This damn thing is actually a Seastone. Even if he wanted to resist, he had no power to resist. At the moment when he lost consciousness and fainted, Blue No couldn't figure it out. Why did these pirates deal with him so carefully? Attack after attack left him unable to react, let alone resist and escape. Has his identity as a CP spy been exposed? Even Devil Fruit's ability was known to the other party, Which bastard leaked his information? The sea stone of this group of pirates is obviously aimed at his demon fruit power. The most important thing is, why did Big Daddy Babaya throw the sea stone coin without any trouble, but when he touched it, he became powerless? He also saw that Dai, a barrier fruit user, was fine and didn't notice anything strange, so he subconsciously caught the ordinary-looking black coin. But he never expected that he would be plotted against. Boom. Blueno was thrown into the wine cabinet and the bottle suddenly shattered and the wine flew everywhere. The fighting champion Badgers immediately took out a pair of sea stone handcuffs, rushed over, and with 3 strokes, he had already handcuffed the horned bartender and dragged him out of the ruined wine rack. Seeing the black bruise on Blueno's face, it seemed that Captain Dai's punch was merciless and so fierce that the guy fainted instantly. What a waste. Pirate hunter Zoro immediately jumped into the bartender's counter. Seeing the wine scattered around, he quickly rescued the remaining bottles of wine. He even stretched his neck to take a sip of the flowing wine, looking like an alcoholic. Sonic Ed Drago and Steel Bear also started to get drinks directly, or go into the kitchen to get food to eat, demonstrating what normal pirate operations are. The little thieving cat Nami has also gone through the cashier box at the counter, refusing to let go of any Bailey. The crew also began to rest on the spot. Under the leadership of Captain Dai, today was another day of salty fish. Didn't show his ability. Petal hands appeared one after another, connected, and held up a small wooden board in front of Dai. On it was the thrown black sea stone coin. Nico Robin's flower hand cannot directly touch the sea stone, otherwise her body will also be affected. Dai gave Robin a look of understanding appreciation, and then directly picked up the sea stone coin, which seemed to have no impact on him at all. This sea stone coin now only prevents Dai from using the barrier fruit's ability, but his strength has not been weakened much. This is just a relatively low purity sea stone coin. However, this can also allow untrained demon fruit power to be attacked in an instant, rendering them unable to resist. Dai knew that even if devil fruit had awakened, it still couldn't withstand sea stone's forbidden power. On Egghead Island, Rob Lucci, who had awakened from the leopard fruit, was tricked by Stussy's high purity sea stone lipstick. With just a light touch, he was easily taken down by Stussy. Even though Rob Lucci already has the strength to fight with the sun god Nika a few times, he still has no power to resist. So, sea stone is really a good thing. Now the Big Daddy pirates are continuously buying sea stones from the underground intermediary Emperor Doflamingo, and they seem to have no shortage of money. Moreover, he threatened and negotiated prices unscrupulously, squeezing Doflamingo's profits, and Doflamingo was so angry that he dared not speak out. Who knows that he has the control now in Dai's hands. However, the Big Daddy pirates also released some shape memory metals and rejuvenation potions to make deals with the underground intermediary emperor to make up for Doflamingo. Avoid dogs jumping over the wall in a hurry and rabbits biting in a hurry. The crew of the Big Daddy pirates were directly in this spy bar supported by the world government, eating, drinking and grabbing, doing what pirates should do. Besides, they are still 7 warlords of the sea and can legally plunder. If you don't rob all the shipyards in the Seven Waters capital, you will already be giving the naval headquarters a lot of face. However, I don't know if there is any inventory of Adam Baomu in the shipyard of the capital of 7 Rivers. If there are any, you have to grab them all. Not long after, the mayor of the 7 Waters city, Bingshan, rushed into the Blue No bar with his boatman, panting slightly. Bingshan breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that the 7 warlords of the sea did not go on a killing spree but only robbed the tavern. You must know that Big Daddy Babaya is famous for his cruelty. He often kills pirates, leaving rivers of blood and corpses everywhere he goes. When Rob Lucci, Kaku, and Khalifa saw the captured Blue No, the expressions on their faces became very serious. Blue No, who has the power of the gate fruit, can't escape from the 7 warlords of the sea. They need to recalculate what consequences they will have if they attack Big Daddy Babaya and snatch Iron Man Frankie. Lord Dai, please be noble and don't harm the citizens of the 7 Waters capital or destroy this town. Whatever you need, whether it's Bailey or supplies, we'll find a way to get it right away. Mayor Bingshan ran to Dai without fear of life and death, and said humbly, his eyes still scanning secretly, looking for Frankie. There happens to be some demand. Hand over all the Baomu Adam in the capital of 7 Waters. Dai picked up the bottle and had a drink alone, and began to look at Rob Lucci and the others behind the iceberg. These CP9 spies are not easy to control at this time, unless they are framed, expelled, and hunted by Spandam, and then there may be a chance to recruit them. That's no problem. We will find a way to deliver all Baomu Adam's inventory to you as soon as possible. I just don't know if Lord Dai Dai can release all the citizens of the Seven Waters capital, such as the Blue No store manager and the pervert Iron Man Frankie. Bingshan asked cautiously. He mainly rescued the captured Frankie and only casually picked up Blue No as a hostage. Dai Dai glanced around and shook the red wine glass in his hand. Go and prepare Adam Baomu first. Dai Dai did not agree to Bingshan's request for release. Instead, he calmly ordered the mayor. The aura on his body radiated, scaring Bingshan to take a few steps back. Clear. Bingshan gritted his teeth and said that in order to prevent these pirates from destroying the capital of Seven Waters, he could only compromise. I wonder if those bastard Marines are here now. That's right. Those guys under your command are pretty good, and they look like professionals with extremely solid foundations. Why don't you stay and practice a few moves with my crew? Dai Dai chuckled lightly, then quickly threw 3 wine glasses, shooting directly at Rob Lucci, Kaku and Khalifa. The powerful wine glass made Khalifa frown and instantly disappear on the spot to hide. Kaku just tilted his neck quickly and successfully dodged, letting the wine glass fly past. Only Rob Lucci popped the wine glass with a finger pistol, causing glass shards to fly everywhere in front of him. Even Bingshan looked at this Khalifa secretary with such speed in shock, but he quickly reacted and forced himself to calm down. He knew that someone from the world government had taken action, which made him more wary again. But now, Frankie is still in the hands of the 7 warlords of the sea, and Bingshan doesn't know where Frankie hid the Pluton design drawings. At that time, he gave the Pluton design drawings to his junior brother Carter Frame for safekeeping and asked him to remain anonymous and not to appear in the Seven Waters capital again. As a result, Carter Flam changed his name to Frankie and did not leave the Seven Waters city. He also became a reformer. He will continue to protect the Seven Waters city that Teacher Tom wants to build in his own way. Rob Lucci and the other 3 were already looking at Dai Dai and Bingshan with expressionless expressions. They knew that they had most likely been exposed and were no longer suitable to lurk around Bingshan, let alone continue to steal the secrets of Pluton's design. Seeing the strength of these boatmen, pirate hunter Zoro immediately stood up with great interest and looked at the 2 CP masters, Lucci and Kaku. Just by looking at each other, Zoro already knew that these were 2 very powerful opponents. Badgers, Ed Drago, Iron Bear, and Eric also stood up one after another, vaguely surrounding Lu Chi and others. Hey! What do you mean? Barry, one of the top 5 shipbuilding foremen, immediately started shouting, while protecting Lu Chi and Kaku behind him. Although Lu Chi and Kaku were only promoted to foreman positions in the past few years, their efforts and diligence were appreciated by the 3 veteran foremen. Barry. Let's go. Gather all the Baomu Adam and hand them over to Master Dai Dai. Seeing the cold expressions of Lu Chi and Khalifa, Bingshan felt a chill in his heart. They were indeed spies of the world government. Unexpectedly, these guys have successfully lurked around me for several years, but I was still careless. Fortunately, Pluton's blueprints were not with him, otherwise he would have exposed his flaws and been snatched away by these world government spies. This was how Master Tom was driven to death step by step. Even though he had built a sea train and successfully benefited the Seven Waters city, he still could not escape the major crime of building a ship for Roger, the Pirate King, and suspected of secretly hiding Pluton's design drawings. President. This. Foreman Barry looked at Bingshan in disbelief. This was not like the good mayor who loved the people and built the Seven Waters city for development, not to mention that Lu Chi, Kaku, and Khalifa were also Bingshan's foreman and secretary. The other 2 foremen, Tilestone and Bipley, also looked at their president with doubts. This was not like the anxious look they had just arrived in a hurry. Why did he become like this after just a few words with Dai Dai? A few of the Marine 6 styles are doing well, can you teach us? Dai Dai chuckled and asked Lu Chi and the others again, and the 3 foremen of Barry finally understood the meaning and looked at Lu Chi and Kaku with wide eyes. Are they Marine? Or a world government spy? Seeing Bingshan leaving in a hurry with an ugly expression, Barry and the other 3 immediately followed the president. These things are no longer something they can handle. Do you know who we are? Rob Lucci looked at Dai Dai expressionlessly and asked, his eyes eager to try. Although Big Daddy Bobby's name is very famous, he still wanted to verify Dai Dai's strength in person. Are these 7 warlords of the sea as powerful as the legend says? It's not like Rob Lucci has never killed a big pirate with a bounty of hundreds of millions. Lu Chi is known as the strongest CP9 member in 800 years, he has such arrogance. Why haha. Why do we need to know your identities? You are just our sparring partners. Fighting champion Badgers actually took action directly, waving his fist as big as a sandbag and hit Rob Lucci. The seastone glove seems to be wrapped with a vague military color. The powerful momentum made Rob Lucci dare not use the iron body to resist. However, being proud and arrogant, he chose to clench his fists, gather his strength, and punch the big man with one punch. This was the moment when the two fists came into contact. Lucci's pupils shrank suddenly, and he felt a sense of powerlessness. The CP9 genius with 4,000 power was actually blown away by a punch and smashed into the wall of the bar. Even Kaku and Khalifa's eyes widened. Are even the cadres of 7 warlords of the sea that strong now? He can actually punch a strong CP player like Lucci with one punch. Roar. A beast roar came from the dust of the ruins. A trace of blood spilled from the mouth of the half-animal Rob Lucci, and his face was full of anger. This kind of injury was dispensable to him. Is it seastone? Lucci's eyes flashed with murderous intent. This bastard actually hurt him with these gadgets. This is simply unforgivable. Shave. Finger pistol Huang Lian. Leopard Man Luki disappeared from the spot in an instant, and the next moment he appeared on the side of Badger's, his sharp fingers intensively poking at Badger's waist. As long as he can avoid the seastone gloves with the speed of a leopard, this big pirate will be no match for him. Get out of here, lousy. Dead cat. Badger splattered with blood on his waist and angrily swung his giant fist hammer at the dead leopard, but Lucci easily dodged it. At this time, several transparent wind blades shot straight towards Rob Lucci. Tempest kick. Kaku waved his foot, and an air blade appeared, destroying Cyclone Eric's sneak attack wind blade. Can you perform a flying slash with your feet? Pirate Hunter Zoro's eyes suddenly lit up, and he became even more interested when he saw that Kaku was carrying 2 staff knives. He immediately drew out his 2 swords and rushed forward. Kaku also instantly pulled out 2 swords and blocked Zoro's fierce slash. 3-sword swordsman, Pirate Hunter Roronoa Zoro, and the old man is a 4-sword swordsman. The 2 swords in Yamakaze Kaku's hands violently swung away the Pirate Hunter Zoro's swords, then he did a backflip and swung 2 huge tempest kicks with his feet, sending Zoro flying away. The terrifying force blasted Zoro into the wall of the bar, immediately raising countless dust. The strong strength of these 2 boatmen made Dukyu, Fan Oka, and Lafitte, who were watching the show, immediately become serious. If they can't even beat this guy Zoro, then they probably can't either. But soon, Zoro also rushed out without any injuries. Moreover, his eyes were full of fighting spirit now, and he was excitedly attacking Kaku. The 2 of them immediately fell into a fierce battle, with the 4 knives constantly colliding, causing a lot of sparks to fly. Believe this guy Zoro, his 3rd sword hasn't been drawn out yet. Lafitte said softly. He knew how powerful this young swordsman was. No one among him, Dukyu, and Fan Oka could beat the green algae-headed swordsman head-on. It's better to help this guy Badgers, he's going to be beaten to death. Dukyu said sickly. This leopard man is obviously stronger than this long-nosed guy, but Badgers is too reckless and directly chooses to attack the stronger person without looking at how much he weighs. Secretary Khalifa has also been stared at by Nico Robin, Desire and Queen Sugar. This is a battle between their women. Kaku and Khalifa, who have not yet taken advantage of the Devil Fruit's ability, are a little weaker than expected. Seeing Badgers being beaten up by Rob Lucci, other officers and crew members finally couldn't help it anymore. Sonic Edrago's Sonic Cannon and Tornado Eric's transparent windblade constantly supported Badgers, distracting Lucci from killing Badgers in one fell swoop. At this time, the few remaining CP9 members of Eni's lobby had already taken the sea train and quickly headed to the capital of 7 Waters. Even Buddha Sengoku of the naval headquarters became angry when he heard that the Big Daddy pirates were plundering the capital of the 7 Waters, and immediately sent out several marine generals to persuade the bastard 7 warlords of the sea. A member of the sword team, after learning the news, Drake immediately felt that this was a good opportunity to quit Marine. He will take the initiative to attack the 7 warlords of the sea, then betray Marine, then become a pirate, compete for the supernova in the new year, and then find an opportunity to join the 4 Emperors' force. After a brief team exchange, they rushed to the capital of 7 Waters. They want to ensure that after Drake attacks the Big Daddy pirates, he can still leave safely until a new pirate group is formed. In fact, Naval Headquarters, Eni's Lobby, Impel Down, and Sabodi Archipelago are all very close, and Eni's Lobby and 7 Waters are connected by sea trains, which shortens the distance between them. I just don't know, Since the sea train has already connected to important islands like Eni's Lobby, why not also connect Sabodi Archipelago to other islands? Even New World has built some sea trains. When Zephyr blew up New World, Aokiji saved many civilians who wanted to escape on sea trains. On the other side, Dai Dai didn't know that there were already so many people rushing to the Seven Waters capital. He just watched quietly as Badgers was being beaten, and seemed to have no intention of taking action against Rob Lucci. He discovered that Badgers, whether he was in the Blackbeard Pirates in the original work or in his Big Daddy Pirates, had always been a character who got beaten. Could it be that this guy was born with a constitution that meant he could be beaten? In the battle between Zoro and Kaku, Zoro had already begun to suppress Kaku, the second strongest CP9 player, before using his third sword. Kaku, who has not taken the giraffe fruit, cannot compare in strength to Zoro, a monster-like training madman. Khalifa was also restricted by Robin and Sugar Queen's devil fruit abilities, with all kinds of fancy arms and paste, so that she couldn't even shave, and was brutally beaten by the fists of her gangster girlfriend Desire. These women don't seem to have any sympathy for her. Khalifa's clothes were torn a lot, and most of her black stockings were torn. Dai Dai just glanced at it casually, and then continued to watch the crew members of the Big Daddy Pirates begin to gang up on Rob Lucci. Sonic Ed Drago, Tornado Eric, and Iron Bear all rushed forward to help Badgers. Even in a 4-on-1 fight, he still failed to suppress Lucci, the ferocious leopard. Instead, due to poor coordination, he was almost injured by his own abilities, which made Dai Duo even unable to stand it. However, this is also Dai Dai's goal, which is to train troops. In the end, even Ghostman Agent and Beiji Crow rushed forward, and even Lafitte was clicked on by Dai Dui. Only the two long-range attackers, Fan Oka and Poison Q, were left unfinished. Under the siege of so many strong players, even if Rob Lucci is a once-in-800-year-old genius in CP9, he is unable to defeat all four with just one fist and is forced to run around, looking for opportunities to counterattack in the siege. But he still beat these cadres and crew members. All of them were red and slightly injured, which showed his great strength. This is probably the real talent. Lucci is a real genius. He can continue to break through and become stronger in desperate situations. It's just that he lacks the aura of the protagonist who does sit-ups. I lurked in the shipyard for 5 years, using a hammer to build ships every day. I wasted a lot of training time, but I still managed to awaken Devil Fruit in 2 years. Dai D whispered, Rob Lucci's talent is not much worse than that of Straw Hat Luffy. The only one to blame is his own bad luck. He was trained by the world government into a Dark Justice Eagle Dog, and completely lost any chance of awakening conquerors. He also ate an ordinary zone Devil Fruit, making it impossible for him to catch up with Straw Hat Luffy for the rest of his life. The world government knew that Rob Lucci had shown a talent that was rare in 800 years since he was a child, but still gave him an ordinary cat fruit and let him work as a shipwright. What a waste of talent. Maybe even the devil fruit given to slaves by celestial dragons is stronger than the devil fruit organized by CP. Is this because he is afraid that Lucci will become too strong and difficult to control? Seeing that Rob Lucci was also beaten out of breath by many crew members of the Big Daddy Pirates, Dai Dai also knew that it was almost over. Dai Dai did not open his mouth to recruit such CP spies who were severely brainwashed and possessed dark justice in their own hearts. Unless they will be persecuted and abandoned by the masters of world government, they will not betray world government. Just like the original CP9 genius, Fozfu, after losing the sun god Nika fruit, he was imprisoned and tortured. After successfully escaping from prison, he directly sought refuge with Kaido of the Beasts, seeking asylum and seeking revenge at the same time. World government. Dai Dai stood up and slowly walked towards the battlefield. The crew members and cadres of the Big Daddy Pirates also retreated sensibly, leaving this guy to the captain to defeat. Rob Lucci's chest rose and fell rapidly, and he was breathing heavily. Unexpectedly, he was already exhausted by Dai Dai's subordinates before even fighting against the 7 warlords of the sea. Looking at the CP9 captain of Grandmaster Marine 6 Styles, Dai Dai smiled. He remembered that the other CP9 members respected Rob Lucci very much. As long as you capture this guy, you can basically get Marine 6 Styles. Even if Rob Lucci would rather die than surrender and refuse to hand over Marine 6 Styles, the other CP members may not. They can pay a lot of money to save Lucci's life. Your life returning technique is very good. Dai Dai looked at Rob Lucci's powerful leopardman form and was full of admiration. This technique can inject consciousness into the muscles, internal organs, and hair, change the cell arrangement of each body, make the muscles tighter, and even change their shape. In this form, defense, speed, and instinctive dodge will be greatly enhanced. I didn't expect that the 7 warlords of the sea would have to let their men consume the enemy's strength before they dare to take action. Don't you even have the guts to fight me fairly? Rob Lucci's half-leopard face had a stern expression, and he spoke with disdain, and there seemed to be a hint of provocation in it. The implicit meaning is, if you have the guts, let me go, and wait until I regain my strength to fight again. Have you ever seen the king come to fight from the very beginning? Or should we just let Marshal Marine and the 5 elders go out to fight the pirates? Dai Dai didn't pay any attention to Lu Chi's words. He didn't regard Lu Chi as an equal opponent at all now. This guy was just a sparring partner of the Big Daddy pirates. 6 styles 6 king gun. Rob Lucci's leopard legs turned into afterimages, flew over directly, and launched his own powerful attack moves against Dai Dai. Boom. Lu Chi's explosive fists hit a transparent barrier in front of Dai Dai. The shockwave burst out with great force, and a huge roar broke out in an instant. But the barrier shield in front of Dai Dai was undamaged and motionless. The power of your moves seems to be only comparable to the shockwave of a robomb. Dai Dai chuckled and said, many pirates and marines have been practicing for most of their lives, but they can't compare with the attack power of a single shell. Lien Luki is a genius who not only has the Grandmaster 6 styles, but also has a link power of up to 4,000. As a result, his original 6 king secret spear is as powerful as Sky Island's volley shell. Then it is estimated that Rob Lucci's strongest move at present, the Max Wheel 6 king spear, is probably twice as powerful as the volley. Hateful. Luki saw that his attack had no effect on the 7 warlords of the sea, and immediately strategically jumped back to evacuate. I won't bully you either. I'll just use an empty shell to let you know how strong you are now. Dai Diejun took out a rare volley shell in his pocket, and even Armament Hockey and 7-star Demon Pattern didn't bother to use it. I don't know how to shave Marine 6 styles now, but I know how to do the enhanced silent step. Seeing Lu Chi use shaving to turn into an afterimage and retreat, Dai Dai also activated Observation Hockey, used silent step to quickly add, and followed closely behind. Let you try my Pilari attack Boi 6 King Spear. Dai Daifei appeared in front of Lu Chi and smiled jokingly at Lu Chi, whose expression changed drastically. Dai Dai raised a volley shell and aimed it at Rob Lucci's chest. Boom. Even Dai Dai was shaken back a few steps by the impact of the shell attack. Lu Chi, who was attacked from the front, was directly blasted against the wall of the Blue No Bar as if he was hit by a high-speed sea train, and was thrown out of the street. Rob Lucci climbed out of the pile of rubble and stared at the empty shell in Dai Dui's hand. The power of a shell is already comparable to the 6 King's Spear that he has been practicing for many years. This is too despising. The other crew members of the Big Daddy Pirates also began to touch their collection of shock shells and volley shells. The recoil of these things was too powerful, and they had to bear more than half of the damage. It was not easy to use at all. Usually, in the end, when there is really no other way and a desperate effort is needed, one will choose to use this rare empty shell that can damage the enemy by 1000 and damage himself by 800. And Dai Dai has Armament Hockey and Barrier Fruit, which can offset the counter-shock force caused by the shell. However, masters with Armament Hockey will almost never need to block external forces such as shells. Lu Chi, who had exited the Leopard Man form, was gasping for air, with blood spilling from his mouth. Dai Dai knew that this guy's physical strength had almost reached its bottom. On the other side, Robin and Desire have captured the CP9 spy Khalifa and tied her up. The battle between pirate hunter Zoro and Yamakaze Kaku is coming to an end. Kaku, a CP9 genius, is still not as good as Zoro, a swordsman genius. Both swordsmanship and strength are completely suppressed. In the original work, Zoro cannot even defeat Kaku after taking the giraffe fruit. What's more, the current Zoro has been strengthened for several rounds on Dai Dai's ship. Without the blessing of Zone Devil Fruit ability, Kaku cannot defeat Zoro. As Rob Lucci was smashed away, Kaku's mind showed a slight flaw, and he was instantly killed by Zoro, the 3-knife style, with one move, and was chopped to the ground. What? Do you still want to fight? Your 2 companions have fallen. Dai Dai looked at Lu Chi, who had once again entered the half-animal form, and said with a smile, he is indeed an elite agent and will never surrender until the last moment. At this time, a scream of pigeons made Rob Lucci's expression change suddenly. A white dove wearing clothes was caught in the hands of the devil Sheriff Lafitte. It struggled desperately and several white feathers fell off. Hodoli. Lien Kaku and Khalifa were defeated, and Lu Chi's face only changed color slightly, but the white pigeon that had been with him for 20 years was captured, directly allowing him to break through his defense. Leopard Man Lu Chi immediately stepped on the moonwalk and rushed towards Lafitte in the air to snatch back his family, Hidori. Your behavior is not like a spy walking in the dark. Hammer. Dai Dai jumped up directly, clasping his hands together with his weapons swirling around, and slammed Rob Lucci down in the air with his back exposed. Boom. A powerful and heavy hammer hit Rob Lucci hard into the street, creating a huge crater several meters deep. After the dust dispersed, Rob Lucci could no longer maintain his leopard man form and returned to his human form. He coughed up blood in the giant pit and basically lost his ability to resist. Waihaha. You also have it now. Fighting champion Badgers immediately jumped out with a loud laugh, quickly rushed into the pit, took out the seastone handcuffs, and cuffed the leopard man. He didn't forget to stomp on Lucci's chest a few times to get revenge. Now there were several hideous bloody holes on Badger's waist that Lucci had poked with finger pistol. With the capture of these 3 CP9 spies, today's battle of the Big Daddy Pirates has come to an end. Lafitte, Crow, make good use of their relationship to force me to practice Marine 6 styles. Dai Dai ordered to his think tank that Marine 6 styles is quite helpful to middle and lower level crew members and is worth exploring. If he could be forced to learn the cultivation method of returning life, even Dai Dai might learn it. It's amazing that something as elusive as consciousness can be manipulated. At least he doesn't know how to do it yet. Moreover, life return can control the size of muscles, and even control hair attacks. These are very practical moves. This may allow Dai Dui to improve the accuracy of controlling the barrier fruit by several levels. At that time, even nose hair, foot hair, eyebrows can cross-activate the ability of the barrier fruit. Many abilities and moves with forward timing can be activated silently and in advance. Just asking you if you are afraid. The most important thing is that maybe in the future, a woman who is like a little giant will come to Dai Dai. For example, giant women like Smoothie and Shirahoshi. Even Chopper, a little reindeer, can turn into a giant monster. Dai Dai hopes that after he learns how to return life, he can turn into a little giant at any time and can suit any woman. Thinking of this, Dai Dai felt that he still wanted the ability to return life. Moreover, he also possesses some of the abilities of the Beast King Qilin Lion. Maybe even Chopper's Blue Wave Ball can have an effect on him. Chopper's Blue Wave Ball allows the furry tribe to temporarily enter the powerful Moon Lion form under non-full moon conditions, bursting out with powerful combat power. It also allows Zone Demon Fruit Power to have several changes, which shows the commercial value of the Blue Wave Ball. No. When I go back to hunt for supernovae in a while, I will also go to Drum Island to search for Dr. Kaleha and Chopper. At the very least, we should get the prescription and concept theory of Lan Bokyu, and let Dr. 20, Nakin, Poison Q and others study it in depth. This will be a big business again, comparable to the Artificial Devil Fruit Project. The 4 members of CP9 have all been escorted back to Arc Proverbs and are ready to leave the island at any time. However, since it is an expedition to plunder, how can there be only this little profit? Dai Dai also wanted to make a bigger fuss and let Naval Headquarters know that even if he is a newcomer to 7 Warlords of the Sea, he is not that easy to fool. Mayor Bingshan is mobilizing Adam Baomu and preparing a huge amount of protection money to prevent the Big Daddy Pirates from wreaking havoc and killing in the capital of 7 Waters. After Dai Dai left the Blue No Bar, he flew straight to the financial bank in the capital of 7 Waters. There is a lot of money here. Almost all the gold that the Straw Hat Pirates obtained on Sky Island was sold here in the capital of 7 Waters, and they obtained hundreds of millions of belly. And this bank also took the Straw Hats' gold very easily, which shows its strong funds. That money was the funds for the Straw Hat Pirates to build a new ship, and it was also an introduction to the bond between Frankie and Frankie. In the end, they purchased a very expensive Adam tree as wood for the new ship. Captain. Behind these banks, in addition to the world government, there is also the shadow of the underground Dark Emperor, Dark Gold King, Du Felder. Do we really want to do something about it? Devil Sheriff Lafitte asked with a smile on his face. To be honest, he wanted to rob banks from the bottom of his heart, but the backgrounds of these banks were too terrifying for ordinary pirates to offend. They must think clearly about the horrific consequences of robbing a bank. Then let the people from world government and Dark Gold King negotiate terms with me. Are we short of money now? What we lack is fame and intimidation. Dai Dai grinned. If these people think Dai Dai is easy to bully, then let them see that Dai Dai will become a big unruly pirate. And now he also wants to get in touch with Du Felder, the Dark Gold King. This guy was the big financier behind the Vegapunk MAD research team more than 20 years ago. Many of the early research results of the MAD team are backed up by the Dark Gold King, possibly even the theory of life blueprints and bloodline factors. Every underground emperor is not a simple thing. Therefore, Dai Dai wants to conduct some deeper dark transactions with this rich Dark Gold King and plan some taboo things in the world government. Speaking of the MAD research team, Punk Hazard's Geisa and the artificial blue dragon fruit are now on the agenda. Whether it's the specific devil fruit recycling technology that Guy spreads, or the artificial devil fruit technology, Dai Dai wants to get a piece of it. Do you want fame and deterrence? Taking action against a powerful financial institution like a bank can indeed cause a lot of commotion. And the mayor of Bingshan has worked so hard, so let's not destroy this beautiful city of 7 rivers. Lafitte also roughly understood what Dai Dai meant. On the one hand, robbery, but to lure some big shots to negotiate terms, was Dai Dai's goal. Just like when Doflamingo grabbed the gold in the sky, those guys would come forward and negotiate terms, seriously. When Ark's Proverbs moved from the Blue No Bar to the Grand Bank of the Seven Waters capital, it scared many forces. Financial institutions like banks don't even dare to provoke lawless pirates. After all, behind them are the world government and various local gangsters. Provoking this kind of financial bank is no less than provoking the world's nobles, the celestial dragons. Dai Dai openly entered this large bank in the capital of 7 rivers, and a large number of intelligence personnel immediately called their boss and asked for support. Even the phone at naval headquarters was ringing off the hook. What? Dai Dai wants to rob the big bank in the 7 Waters capital. Some blue veins appeared on Buddha Sengoku's forehead. This Dai Dai actually dared to risk the disapproval of the world and attack financial institutions. Have Aokiji Admiral rush to the 7 Waters capital immediately. Sengoku yelled, his eyes filled with coldness. The new 7 warlords of the sea take themselves too seriously. They even dare to rob the world government's bank? If you give him the information about the pirates, then there will be no such nonsense. I feel like he is demonstrating to the naval headquarters now. Garp the Fist picked his nose and muttered. After they gave Dai Dai the task of annihilating the Thief Leader Association in exchange for information, it only took a few days for the Big Daddy pirates to rush thousands of miles to plunder the 7 Waters capital. It seems that it's revenge. The most important thing is that they actually have an airship. Has Dai Dai already reached a cooperation with Golden Lion Shiki? Marine Vice Admiral Crane said with some confusion that with Golden Lion Shiki's temper, he probably wouldn't cooperate with Dai Duo. After all, Dai Dai forced the Golden Lion back and wiped out more than 10 or 20 affiliated pirate groups of the Thieves' Chief Guild. Now the Thieves' Chief Guild collapsed. With such grievances, how could these two people resolve their grievances and cooperate? According to the latest information, the Big Daddy Pirate's airship seems to have its own power and is not levitated by Golden Lion Shiki's lion fruit ability. Buddha's Sengoku handed an intelligence document to Vice Admiral Crane, and Sengoku immediately took out a special phone bug to directly contact Dai Duo, the bastard, and drive him out of the 7 Waters capital. In the big bank of the 7 Waters capital, some security personnel have fallen to the ground, including 1 or 2 powerful black-suited guards with a bounty of no less than 70 to 80 million. The crew members of the Big Daddy Pirates were sitting in the reception hall and snatched a batch of Baileys piled up in a hill. These staff members were already trembling with fear. Then, whether it was the Big Daddy Pirates or the phone bugs in the bank, they all started ringing. Dai Dai first took out 7 warlords of the sea's exclusive phone bug. Dai Dai. Do you think becoming 7 warlords of the sea will make you lawless? Take your pirate group with you and leave the 7 Waters city immediately. As soon as the phone was connected, Marine Marshal Sengoku was heard yelling, his tone full of anger, as if he was about to withdraw Dai Dai's 7 warlords of the sea status at the next moment. Now the phone bug at naval headquarters has received many alarms and complaints. Even the world government is aware of Dai Dai's intrusion. Hey, Lord Marshal, doesn't the Treaty of the 7 Warlords of the Sea say that legal plunder can be carried out? How? Have you got one of your own now? Facing Foji Sengoku's questioning and scolding, Dai Duo held the phone away from his ear and his tone was a bit joking. However, when he saw a bunch of desperate reporters appearing in front of the bank, Dai Dai immediately changed his tone. Actually, I am also very helpless. Marine refused to provide me with information and did not provide me with convenience, so that I could not make money by encircling and suppressing the pirate group. In order to support so many crew members of the Big Daddy Pirates, I was forced to do some robbery to replenish our working capital. Moreover, I promise Lord Marshal that I will make good use of this money. I will use these Baileys to buy various information in the underground world. In this way, I can continue to quickly encircle and suppress these pirate groups and make my own contribution to world peace and justice. I think Marshal Sengoku will definitely understand me. Dai Dai immediately began to secretly change the concept, vomited bitterness, and also found a morally high position, pretending to be weak, and started his personal performance. As expected, those reporters began to write crazily in their notebooks, as if they had heard some big news full of gimmicks, and they did not forget to take crazy photos of Dai Dai. It doesn't matter whether what he says is true or not, as long as it can increase newspaper sales. Seeing that the crew members of the Big Daddy Pirates had no intention of stopping or taking action, these reporters became even bolder and began to pour into the reception hall. Some guys even started interviewing and filming albums, especially beautiful pirates like Desire and Nami. They are full of gimmicks and attractions, which will definitely help to sell the news. And Nico Robin has returned to Arc Proverbs wearing a sun hat and sunglasses to avoid appearing in public. Even rugged pirates like Badgers and Edrago have young reporters interviewing them. This made them extremely happy and excited, and they were very cooperative in taking photos. They even answered some slightly more exciting questions without restraint, which made the reporters' eyes light up. It was as if Bailey was seen glowing on these pirates. However, when they saw the pile of hills like Bailey, they felt that even if they spent their whole lives selling newspapers, they would not be able to make that much money. Dai Dai. Stop pretending here. Your goal can be achieved. Now leave the capital of Seven Waters immediately. We will give you the pirate information you want. Even though Buddha Sengoku was full of anger, in order to reduce losses and reduce the seriousness of the situation, he could only choose to compromise and agree to the Big Daddy Pirates' previous intelligence request. Marshal Sengoku, although your justice is late, I think you are still a good person. However, we have purchased a lot of high-priced information on pirate groups from the intelligence organization, and our funds are at the bottom. This time, we will borrow the money from the big bank in the capital of Seven Waters for a while. After we round up more pirate groups and earn the bounty, we will return part of it and then honestly hand over part to the world government. Moreover, I promise you, our Big Daddy Pirates also have their own principles. If we say that we will not destroy the capital of Seven Waters, we will not destroy this shipbuilding island, and we will not kill people indiscriminately. Remember to award us a banner and medal for outstanding 7 warlords of the sea next time. We will do our best to suppress pirates and actively pay taxes on legal plunder. Dai Dai's talk was very exciting. Buddha Sengoku was furious when he heard it, and the reporters were excited, feeling that they would be making headlines tomorrow. 7 warlords of the sea, Dai Dai, used the money they legally plundered the Seven Waters capital to buy information to encircle and suppress pirates, and they never forgot to pay their share of the world government's money honestly. Is this the loss of morality or the loss of humanity? The world government makes this kind of bullshit rules about legal plunder, but Dai Dai, a pirate, talks about integrity here and actively turns over stolen money. Moreover, the original reason why the Big Daddy Pirates chose to rob the capital of Seven Waters was because naval headquarters refused to provide information to Dai Dai to encircle and suppress the pirates. All kinds of conjectures and wild ideas are taking shape in the minds of these reporters. They want to add fuel to the fire, exaggerate a little more, and make up a wonderful story. Boom. At this moment, a terrifying explosion sound came from outside. Captain, there are Marines bombarding our Arc Proverbs. Otonokoshi Van Oka immediately shouted to Daidu, and Devil Sheriff Lafitte had already flown out to intercept Marines' artillery fire and protect the Arc's motto. On the Arc Proverbs, Nico Robin, Beiji Crow, and Ghostman Agent are protecting the golden spaceship. Soon, Zoro, Badgers and the others had already run outside to intercept Marines' intensive artillery fire. Arc's Proverbs also quickly rose up, away from Marines' firepower. Inside the reception hall, okay. Marshal Sengoku, can Marines now attack the 7 warlords of the Sea Ally? Dai Dai, who had been pretending to be pitiful and teasing just now, had turned expressionless, and his terrifying aura disappeared, making the reporters and staff present quiet down. All the members of the Big Daddy Pirates have arrived outside the big bank in the capital of Seven Waters and started fighting with Marine who suddenly attacked. Among them was a huge dinosaur, which rushed directly into the camp of the Big Daddy Pirates and began to attack recklessly. Marine Rear Admiral Drake, Zone Dragon Fruit Ancient Species Allosaurus Form Ability User, like an ancient ferocious beast, he launched an attack on the Big Daddy Pirates. The terrifying strength of the beast knocked badgers and the big steel bear away. Lawless pirates, hateful 7 warlords of the sea. Even if you disobey the orders of the world government and naval headquarters today, Lousy will destroy you. Drake, who entered the half-dragon form, threw away his cloak of justice, and then rushed straight towards Big Daddy Babaya in the reception hall, as if he wanted to fight Dai Duo to the death. Dai saw the half-dragon holding a sword in his left hand and a 4-edged axe in his right coming to kill him. He immediately recognized Drake, the future supernova. A Marine attacked you. That may be the Marine's own personal behavior and has nothing to do with naval headquarters. We will punish him well when the time comes. But now, you'd better leave the capital of 7 waters honestly, otherwise everything will not be so easy to talk about when Admiral Aokiji gets there. There was a hint of suspicion in Sengoku's tone, as if he didn't believe that any Marine dared to disobey orders, and he continued to warn Dai, the 7 warlords of the sea. Hey, since he is the Marine general who disobeyed the orders of naval headquarters, do you want me to help you capture him? Dai smiled softly. How could he not know that Drake, the Marine Rear Admiral, had a close relationship with Sengoku of Buddha and Vice Admiral of Crane, so how could he disobey orders so easily? At this moment, a thought flashed through Dai's mind. Is this guy going to take this opportunity to betray Marine and go on an undercover mission? It's too late, but it's soon. Clang! Drake's 2 weapons had already hit the barrier that appeared in front of Dai. The huge airwave caused these reporters and staff to flee in panic from the reception hall of the big bank in the capital of 7 waters. There were even many Bailey notes that were blown away by the strong wind, causing the banknotes to fly all over the sky. Dai, please leave the capital of 7 waters immediately, and Marine will handle the rest. Buddha's Sengoku's voice was still roaring on the phone bug, but Dai had already blocked the phone bug and ignored the Marine Marshal. Then before Aokiji comes, let me play with you. Dai sneered. Marine wanted to use him as a tool to give Drake a reason to rebel, so he wouldn't be polite. Why should Drake and Marine share the blame for robbing the big bank in the 7 waters capital? Mr. Dinosaur Rear Admiral, if you want these Baileys, just ask and I'll give you half of them. If you want them, how could I not give them to you? The Marines and 7 warlords of the sea are our own people, so there is no need to fight and kill them. Remember to go back and hand over some of them to the world government and naval headquarters. Dai chuckled at Drake and said that he was still going to hand over half of the stolen money to this Marine Rear Admiral in front of these frightened reporters. Just when the reporter felt that there was still big news, the entire large bank in the capital of 7 waters suddenly began to move, and there were many buildings approaching outside, surrounding the crew members of the Big Daddy pirates. A beautiful Marine wearing a hat, a Marine cloak of justice, and holding a whip is whipping these buildings to keep moving. Peacock Rear Admiral, the granddaughter of Marine Vice Admiral, Paramisha, a whip fruit user, is a trainer. She can train buildings and some inanimate objects to resemble circus animals, attacking and besieging enemies according to her wishes. On the top floor of a tall building, a Marine Rear Admiral wearing an extra long peaked cap appeared. Clay dolls appeared in his hands and turned into powerful clay warriors, launching a fierce attack on the crew of the Big Daddy pirates. Prince Groose Rear Admiral, Paramisha clay fruit ability user, can not only create clay warriors, but also add clay armor and characteristics to Marine teammates, so that teammates can also obtain the reshaping properties of clay and continuously recover. Seeing a powerful enemy appear, the pirate hunter Zoro immediately excitedly jumped to the high building and attacked Clay Rear Admiral Prince Groose. The battle broke out instantly. Peacock Rear Admiral did not continue to take action, but only trapped the Big Daddy pirates. Now that Drake has taken action against Dai, the 7 warlords of the sea, and has been charged with disobeying the orders of the naval headquarters, then let him escape from Dai and the Big Daddy pirates and betray Marine. Coupled with Buddha Sengoku's statement at naval headquarters, then Drake can go to sea as a rebel general and become a pirate. Inside the reception hall, Drake originally only wanted to attack Dai Duo a few times, so he took advantage of the chaos outside and used the terrain created by Peacock to take advantage of the chaos. He openly betrayed Marine and became a pirate. Unexpectedly, as soon as Dai opened his mouth, he would hand over half of the stolen money and ask him to take it back and hand it over to the naval headquarters and world government. The most important thing is that many journalists have taken photos and recorded it. This didn't fit into his plan at all. Friends from reporters, for this legal plunder, I have already paid all the taxes, and also gave an extra portion to this ferocious dinosaur Rear Admiral as hard work fee. Everyone present, you can take as much as you can on your hands today, which will be considered as everyone's losses and royalties. Dai crossed his fingers, and a transparent barrier box framed enclosed half of the Baileys and treasures, which amounted to about 2 billion Baileys. Then he walked out without any intention of continuing to fight with Drake. And Drake Rear Admiral was also a little numb. Unexpectedly, this 7 warlords of the sea didn't fight back and left him so much money. This development cannot continue. He and Naval Headquarters will never take the blame. Drake immediately turned into a huge dinosaur and continued to rush towards Dai. With an unstoppable momentum, he crashed into Dai like a sea train. No need to send it to me. Barrier impact. Dai laughed jokingly, and then a solid barrier appeared and pushed back, knocking the Allosaurus into the pile of Baileys, and the rain of money continued to rain. Some greedy reporters and bank staff have begun to secretly put money into their pockets. After all, Dai, the 7 warlords of the sea, just said that they could take some compensation at will. At this time, another phone bug in Dai's arms rang again. Dai, holding a giant barrier box containing money, had already walked out of the big bank of the 7 Waters capital. When Ark Proverb saw his captain appearing, he immediately began to land. Dai answered the call while throwing the huge barrier money box back to the golden spaceship. Little brat Dai, I am Dufeld. Do you want to fight against the entire underground financial world? Or do you want to be hunted down by the entire world? How dare you steal our things? The tone of Dark Gold King Dufeld was full of anger. The majesty of the Underground Emperor must not be violated. Even lawless underground Dark Emperors like Doflamingo must abide by the rules of the game they set. What's more, the Dark Gold King has already established a connection with the world government, and has also fed the 4 emperors and some big pirates. After spending so much resources and favors, he struggled to unite the world's financial organizations, grow bigger and stronger together, and become a huge neutral financial organization. The bank on the surface is the world government, which takes the majority of the profits, and the underground financial organization is Dufeir, who takes the majority of the profits. He manages all the forces, whether it is the world government, naval headquarters, 4 emperors, or local snake forces. It was he who allowed the mainstream financial organizations in the entire world to circulate with each other and unify the standard exchange rate. He also relied on his ability to make friends, both black and white, and to manage finances, and he won titles such as the King of Loan Sharks, the Underground Dark Emperor, the Financial Giant, and the Dark Money King. Whether they are Marines, pirates, nobles, civilians, or even the Revolutionary Army, they can achieve the circulation of funds through overt and underground financial organizations. Even the world government, naval headquarters and the Golden Emperor, several underground Dark World Emperors, are inseparable from his underground banking organization to conduct dark financial transactions. It is because of the conflict between various forces and the use of Dufeld, the underground Dark Emperor, as the balance point and transfer point that the open face funds and underground dark funds can complete the unobstructed circulation. The world government also often sends a check to big news Morgans, so that Morgans can exaggerate the news or cover up certain news. Or send money to Doflamingo, and go to the territory of 4 emperors Kaido of the Beasts to buy a huge amount of seastone through Doflamingo, the underground intermediary emperor. All these transactions are due to the power of underground financial organizations. Even the world government can no longer do without this large network. The world government has also always wanted its spies to replace the position of Dark Money King Dufeld and control the financial power of the underground world without derailing the underground world. The world government has trained Stussy, the queen of the pleasure district, to become one of the underground emperors, making a lot of extra money and getting a lot of information. In fact, they have long been eyeing other underground dark emperors and wish to replace them one by one. But the underground world is a gray area between the world government and all pirates. The important thing is that we would rather accept the weaker pirates to become the underground emperor than allow the powerful world government to continue to get involved and become bigger. Otherwise, pirates and underground organizations are not enough for the world government. When the underground emperors went to Toto Land to have a tea party with the 4 emperors' mission impossible, CP0 queen of the pleasure district, Stussy's first person to kill in a sneak attack was Dufeld, who controlled countless funds. Even Big News Morgans, a big talker who often doesn't give world government face, his task priority is not as high as that of Dark Money King Dufeld. When he heard that the person on the other side of the phone was Dufeld, the Dark Gold King, Dai also showed a smile. This guy with a huge amount of money had never contacted the Big Daddy pirates before. He always sent some kittens and puppies to discuss cooperation with them, quite like the 4 emperors. I've been waiting for you for a long time, Mr. Field. You, a noble man with many things to do, finally have time to talk to me, a newcomer. Dai Dai put the money back into the cabin, then stood on the bow and had a good chat with the underground emperor. So, you deliberately robbed the bank to lure me out. Tell me, what do you want to do? On the other side, Du Fayer chewed a cigar and said in a cold tone that most of Bailey's losses from the big bank in the Seven Waters City were world government's money, and he only accounted for less than 10% of the profits. However, he must not let the trend of robbing financial banks become popular. He must unite with the world government to crack down severely. Even the 7 warlords of the sea must pay the price. Otherwise, this financial business will not be able to continue in the future, and there will be pirates robbing banks everywhere. I didn't mean to rob, I just let the money flow, and finally returned to the underground world. Besides, I already had half of Bailey left to do 7 warlords of the sea's legal plunder tax money. After grabbing all this money, I just asked Naval Headquarters to help me pay for the intelligence fees. Speaking of which, my purpose is indeed to conduct some transactions with you. Mr. Field, who has neither money nor resources, is indeed a good partner, don't you think? Dai Dai smiled faintly, and then looked at the battle below. Drake had rushed out of the reception hall and continued to launch fierce attacks on the crew of the Big Daddy pirates. And it seems that in the building controlled by Peacock, he slowly approaches the gap on one side, preparing to escape from the Seven Waters capital. Dai Dai doesn't want to take action against Drake now. After all, this guy is still the Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral, but after he betrays Marine, he will be a good prey for the Big Daddy pirates. The ancient Allosaurus fruit seems to have pretty good abilities. However, Sengoku and Vice Admiral will always focus on Drake, the undercover pirate. If Dai Dai takes action against him, I wonder if these 2 old guys will directly ask Dai Dai for help or take revenge. After a while, 3 more masters joined the battle. They were several members of CP9, the werewolf Jabra, the lion Nudori, and Otanashi Fukuru. 3 CP9s, 3 Marine Rear Admirals, and several elite Marines fought back and forth with the Big Daddy pirates, and soon fell into an anxious battle. Fortunately, the main task of Peacock and Prince Gruss is to cover Drake's departure. If these 3 elite Rear Admirals and the Big Daddy pirates fight to the death, Zoro and Lafitte will probably fight hard too. Seeing the crew fighting fiercely, Dai Dai was still talking to the Dark Gold King Dufeld. Little kid Dai Dai, what do you have? Could it be those memory alloys in the so-called rejuvenation potion? Besides these 2 things, what else do you have? If you don't give me a satisfactory answer, Lousy will let you know what a total ban on the underground world means. Du Feifei's tone was still cold, and the thing in Dai Dai's hand could not tempt him at all. Unless the permanent effect of the short-term rejuvenation potion can be known, it is still a bit useless. The shape memory alloy sold by the Big Daddy pirates is much worse than the special shape memory armor made by Germa Technology. Du Fayer also has some primitive shape memory metal, but the quantity is not as much as the memory alloy in Dai Duo's hand. Pure gold that can make you immortal. How about it? Are you interested in in-depth cooperation? Dai Dai didn't care at all about the threat of the Dark Gold King, and gently said a term that these rich people could not refuse. Do you have the whereabouts of pure gold? Du Feifei's tone has indeed changed a lot, and he is still a little unbelievable. In fact, the celestial dragons in the underground world have been looking for the whereabouts of pure gold, but the legend 200 years ago seemed to be a flash in the pan, and even the island where pure gold was created has disappeared in half. I know, but it will take 3 to 5 years to get it. How about it? Big boss, are you interested in investing? This is an opportunity to live forever. Dai Dai's words seemed to be full of temptation, which made Du Feifei begin to feel excited. What evidence do you have? And what do you want? Dufeld's tone became gentler, without any anger or coldness at all. If he could get pure gold, it wouldn't matter if he was robbed of a few more banks. The Dark Gold King Dufeld, who already has endless wealth, just wants to live in this wonderful world forever, instead of dying of old age and turning into a handful of Lois. Dai Dai, holding the phone bug, smiled slightly. He knew that such a rich guy must want to live forever. And Dai Dai also wants the technology and funds in Du Feyer's hands. 200 years ago, a scientist named Assier, in order to save his 6-year-old daughter who was terminally ill, made pure gold that could greatly extend people's lifespan, so that his daughter could survive. And that island disappeared mysteriously soon. Now I have obtained some accurate information and need your technical and financial support. I heard that you funded the MAD research team more than 20 years ago. Famous scientists such as Vegapunk, Vinsmoke Judge, Plague Quinn, and Geisa Current have all worked in your team. I need some of the top technologies you have mastered, and I need to fund tens of billions of dollars. Dai Dai directly told the lion that the Dark Gold King Dufeld was not only as rich as any other country, but also as rich as dozens of countries. Tens of billions of Baileys is probably nothing. The money he has can easily buy 4 sea emperors, but there is no stronger person who can take the heads of the 4 emperors. In this world, the rich are not the biggest, but those with invincible strength are the real masters. That's why he funded scientists to find various ways to make money, become stronger, and live longer. As a result, after the mad research team he funded was robbed by the world government, several top scientists dispersed and fled for their lives. This caused him to lose most of his investment, almost all his money was lost, and he only got a batch of semi-finished technology. What kind of biological factors in life design diagrams, after the top scientists are missing from these things, the scientists he hired after him can't understand them at all. Vegapunk, the world's #1 scientist, and Geisa Kulon, were forced to join the world government. Vinsmoke Judge returned to North Blue, and with the cloning and cyborg technology, and the shape memory armor, he allowed him to rebuild Germa 66 and once again become the powerhouse of North Blue. Even Plague Quinn, a fat scientist, has become the Beast's Pirates 3 disaster poster. It made him very unhappy to see that each of these scientists had developed so powerfully that they were already on an equal footing with him. If the mad research team had not been captured by the world government, then Germa 66's android army and the powerful cyborg Plague Quinn would have been his subordinates. Maybe, he has become the strongest underground Dark Emperor, comparable to the power of the 4 emperors. There is no need at all. I go to the 4 emperors' ants' tea party every year to give Charlotte Linlin a face. As a big boss, they are not used to leaving their base camp and entering other people's territory, which makes them feel very insecure. What Dufeld didn't know was that he died on Cake Island 3 years later because he left his nest and attended a tea party in Toto Land. Little brat Dai Dai, you dare to open your mouth with just one mouth. Do you think I am a fool? However, if you really know the whereabouts of the pure gold, Lousy will suppress this robbery for you. And if you focus on finding pure gold, Lousy can provide you with funds every month. But you must also report your progress to me every month. Dufeld was dubious about Dai Dai's words, but for a thing like pure gold that could lead to immortality, based on the principle of preferring to believe that it has something rather than something that doesn't exist, he should just spend money to fund Dai Dai, the 7 warlords of the sea. If Dai Dai really finds pure gold, he will make a fortune from this investment. And listening to Dai Dai's tone, it seems there is some credibility. Then play with Dai Dai for a few years. If he finds out that he is a lie, he will deal with this guy properly. You only have one chance. If you don't believe it, some people do. The most important thing in life is trust, and who do you think I am? A subordinate. I will also report to you every month. I believe those celestial dragons are happy to give money to technology, but I just can't stand them, so I chose to cooperate with you. Mr. Field, besides you who are very rich in this world, the Golden Emperor and the world's nobles are also very rich. Dai Dai said calmly, his tone showing enough self-confidence. If Dufayfield had not only money but also a lot of skills, his key strength was not very strong, so Dai Dai came to him to cooperate. Haha. Dai Dai, it seems you are very confident. I do believe that you have the whereabouts of pure gold. However, cooperation is not something you alone have the final say on. Come up with some sincere conditions and let me pay for you willingly. Dufeld laughed and said, facing Dai Dai's tough attitude, he became happy instead. He also believed that Dai Dai seemed to be really good. As long as there is information about something like pure gold, he is not afraid of wasting money to look for it. Because he is really not short of money. Hearing that Dufeifei had fallen into his plan step by step, Dai Dai began to discuss comprehensive cooperation with the Dark Gold King, temporarily pulling the rich underground Dark Emperor into his allies. The most important thing is that Dufeld will soon put the permanent pointer of Punk Hazard into the hands of Dai Dai. We also need to give some original shape memory metals to Dai Dai so that he can improve the formula of some shape memory alloys and strive to turn them into more powerful rare metals. Of course, Bailey is also indispensable. As Dai Dai and Dufeld finished talking about cooperation, on the battlefield below, Drake had actually run away and betrayed Marine in a big way. Those Marine elites also took the opportunity to evacuate, disowned Drake, and claimed that they had no intention of attacking the 7 warlords of the sea. It was all orders from the traitorous General Drake, and they wanted to return to naval headquarters to resume their lives. Dai Dai watched them leave with a blank expression, and did not take action against Peacock and Drake, the direct descendants of Sengoku and Vice Admiral. However, these CP9s will definitely not be able to escape. Some spy eagle dogs were trained by orphans. They did not have the support of big people, and no one would take revenge on Dai Dai even if they died. Dai Dai instantly jumped off the ark's proverbs and personally attacked the werewolf Jabra and several others, capturing them captive. Because he saw an ice road appearing on the sea in the distance of the Seven Waters capital, and there was a person riding a bicycle approaching quickly. Quick victory, finish the fight and leave. Dai Dai immediately gave orders to his crew. He didn't want to fight with Admiral Aokiji yet. When everyone boarded the Ark of Proverbs, Dai Dai also asked Mayor Bingshan to take Adam Baomu back to Gaia Island by boat, and then discuss the return of Iron Man Frankie on Dai Dai's territory. When Aokiji Kuzan landed in the Seven Waters capital, the Big Daddy pirates had already left the shipbuilding island in their Ark Proverbs in a group of captives. Bailey, who was left behind by Dai Dai at the big bank in the Seven Waters capital, was also robbed by some pirates and reporters, but under the suppression of Bingshan and Aokiji Admiral, things were quickly settled. The reporters who took their money and left early are already frantically reporting to their headquarters to prepare tomorrow's headlines. Ark Proverbs Chapter 1. Dai Dai looked at the captives plundered in this expedition, the ones with the slow fruit ability that involved time, and the door fruit ability people that involved space. Foxy's talent is very poor, and now Blue No is very loyal to the world government, so Dai Dai basically gave up the idea of conquering them. He is also looking for a suitable crew member to inherit the ability. As long as Blackbeard Teach is obtained, then he can start his devil fruit plunder plan. Captain, not only did Naval Headquarters call this time, but the world government also called. They asked us to release all CP9 members and hand over all the prisoners in the Seven Waters capital. Devil Sheriff Lafitte, a diplomat, whose professional fake smile became a little serious, carefully reported to Dai Dai that the trouble they had caused this time seemed to be a bit big. It was only after Lafitte took action that he discovered that those boatmen were CP agents of the world government, and they were also agents and spies who were performing important tasks of the world government. Now the world government seems to be taking this matter very seriously. In the half-day since the Big Daddy pirates left the capital of Seven Waters, they have called many times to put pressure on Dai Dai. Other CP9 crew members asked them to exchange devil fruit, or special technology or supplies. Now you continue to argue with them until these CP agents hand over all Marine 6 styles. As for the Iron Man Frankie and the bar owner Blue No, it was announced that they had died from their injuries. Dai Dai said casually, while still lifting dumbbells and exercising hard. The appearance of Admiral Aokiji made him feel a threat more deadly than Golden Lion Shiki. Just because Dai Dai can play well with Golden Lion Shiki doesn't mean he can play equally well with Aokiji. Among the top combat forces, the gap is still a bit big. For example, Kid, who has a bounty of 3 billion, can be defeated by the red-haired Shanks, who has a bounty of 4 billion. What's more, Golden Lion is just an old man with multiple serious injuries, which severely limits his strength. He is no longer comparable to the young and strong Logia frozen fruit ability user like Aokiji. He only relies on the ability of Lion Fruit to make many forces fear him. Then I'll delay it as long as possible. Lafitte said helplessly that in fact, he has argued with Naval Headquarters and world government several times now, and the other party has shown impatience, which makes him feel very difficult to deal with. However, he could only follow Dai Dai's request and continue to ask for prices and negotiate terms. The next day, the news of the Big Daddy Pirates' invasion of the Seven Waters City made the headlines of the Economic News Agency. At the same time, a Marine Rear Admiral betrayed Marine because he attacked the 7 warlords of the sea. Among them, Dai Dai handed over half of the stolen money to Marine on the spot as illegal plunder to pay taxes to the world government, which attracted a lot of dissatisfaction and scolding from Marines and civilians. Some irritable people even publicly cursed the world government and called for the cancellation of the garbage organization's 7 warlords of the sea. They even felt that Drake Rear Admiral's betrayal of Marine was just a forced and helpless act, and he was still a righteous Marine. Drake also didn't expect that he would gain a lot of fame, which was different from his original intention of being an undercover agent. So he has planned to do some things that real pirates do, build a reputation as a brutal rebel, and become a great pirate. The other underground Dark Emperors are also a bit strange. Why didn't the Dark Money King Dufeld jump out to deal with Dai Dai, the rule breaker, this time when Dai Dai robbed the bank? In the past, when encountering this kind of thing, he was always the first to take the lead in chasing and intercepting such robbers, and it was a desperate situation. The underground emperors soon realized that Dufayr had most likely reached a certain degree of cooperation with Didi Babaya. This allowed them to refresh their evaluation of Dai Dai again and prepare to strengthen cooperation with the new 7 warlords of the sea. Spandam of Eni's lobby, after losing the elites of CP9, kept applying to the world government headquarters to capture Dai Dai, the 7 warlords of the sea, because he believed that the Pluton design was in the hands of Frankie, the Iron Man who was captured by Dai Dai. Only by retrieving Iron Man Frankie can the world government have a chance to obtain Pluton's design, and he can better promote himself and make a fortune. For this reason, he also asked his father Spangdine, a high-ranking official, to constantly turn a deaf ear to the world government and to take action against Dai Duo. On the other side, after Dai Dai finished his expedition, he had time to look for other resources and benefits. On the 3rd day after the Seven Waters Capital incident, Captain, the island below is the island where strange memories are reported. Navigator Nami held a permanent pointer and said to Dai Duo, "Now that the Big Daddy pirates have become the 7 warlords of the sea, they can buy most of the permanent pointers circulating in the market. It's not like those rookie pirates who can only use the record pointer to sail one island after another according to the route. This is the benefit of having power. According to rumors, residents of this island will lose their memories every day, and this strange incident has spread in the nearby waters. There have been other people who came here to investigate before, but even these people lost their memories. These people were either rescued by their partners, or left on the island, becoming amnesiacs, and then losing their memories again and again every day. Dai Dai felt that this memory seahorse had good abilities, so he wanted to tame it and take it back for experimentation. However, the memories swallowed by this memory seahorse seem to be unable to be digested and erased. As long as it is beaten violently, it will spit out the memories. No matter how long the memory has been swallowed, it can be returned to the original owner. That is to say, it is just like the sugar with the childlike fruit, it may cause thunder in any minute. When these people whose memories are devoured fully recover their memories, the rage is no less than the riot when sugar is stunned and all the toys return to their original state. However, Dai Dai didn't need the memory seahorse to devour the memories of so many people. He just wanted to try whether these captives could be trained into obedient subordinates after losing their memories. These all require experimentation. As the Ark's proverbs landed on this small island, it quickly attracted the attention of the islanders and attracted a crowd of onlookers. "No one can sleep until we catch that seahorse," Dai Dai ordered, and then the people dispersed to look for a pink seahorse. This memory seahorse can swallow up memories while others are sleeping, making it difficult for people to guard against it. Even Dai Dai himself didn't know if his memory would be swallowed up. After all, this world is full of messy abilities, and they are very incomprehensible. Clear. The crew of the Big Daddy pirates immediately landed on this remote island from the Ark Proverbs, looking for the legendary monster that can eat memories. The Gulu Osiadi in the waters of Gaia Island has also received Dai Dai's phone call order and started to set off for the target island. They will join the Big Daddy pirates there to carry out the 3rd round of modifications and upgrades to the island ship.